Hi, we're live. Welcome to Read, Watch, Play. What is this, our 22nd episode? Yay!
Yeah, 22nd episode.
I'm your host, Clifford Parmenter, and with me, as always, I'm going to let you say it.
You're going to make me say it?
Your own name.
Tony Cox.
There you go, like I do. Like I insist on saying my own
Because you don't
name.
trust me, that's why.
Hey, you got it right a couple times. I feel good about that. But we have a really exciting show.
We have a great show. We hope you guys are excited as we are about seeing Justice League tomorrow night. We're going to see it tomorrow night.
We're definitely seeing it tomorrow night.
I've been waiting 30 years for this movie, so I am like super excited.
I've been waiting 36 years for this movie.
So we're super jacked. So in honor of that, we are going to go over our top 10 DC property live action movies. We each have a separate list. And if there's time at the end, we're going to try to combine them into one big master list for the top 10 DC movies from us to you.
Of terror. A top 10 list of terror.
A top 10 list of terror.
If our friends actually do join us live, I know this is going to go insane with the top 10.
It's going to be crazy because we only had 3 movies cross over in our top 10. So there's a lot of variety here.
Actually, in our actual top 10, only 2 movies.
No, there's 3. There's 3. 1, 2, and then we had one movie that's at the same
the same level
that we put at the same number. So this is going to be super fun. But before that, we are going to talk about this week's comics, and then we're going to skip what did we play section this week because I have a feeling this top 10 is going to go pretty long.
Yeah, it could eat us alive.
So let's jump right into this week's comics. I unfortunately I didn't have time to read anything today. Darth Vader number 8 came out today.
That was probably the only thing worth reading. The
Black Panther Prelude number 2 came out also.
Okay.
And
yes.
I picked them up. They're on my desk. I actually had them over here. I was going to try to read them before we started, but I was prepping the top 10 list. So I'll have a report on those next week. And actually, we might be off next week because it's Thanksgiving week. We'll talk about this after.
I don't want to spend more time with my family. I need a reason to leave the house. I live for this. Getting away.
All right. We might.
What am I going to do? We're buying a cooked turkey this year. That's how what we've gotten to.
Oh my God,
that's what we've gotten to.
I'm so red.
Oh my God.
All right, so we'll figure that out, but we'll probably still do a show next week. So
we will. I'm going to give thanks for being here.
So let's jump right in. We've got some DC and some Marvel that Cliff read. Starting off with, do you want to talk about this first?
May I talk about it last?
All right, we'll talk about that last.
Yeah.
So first up, though, is you read Dark Knights. This is the one we've been waiting for.
Yes.
Dark Knights, Batman Who Laughs.
Yeah.
From the tie-in series. Adam, can we? Yeah, there we go.
It's great. Well, as you know, I hate him the most.
Yeah.
And I wanted to hate him the most, and now I get to hate him the most. Mm-hmm. Because now I know his origin. So this Batman is from Earth -22.
-22.
Yeah, and had
Can I open this?
Yeah, but just be really careful because that tape is monstrous.
I'll give you a new bag and board if I destroy it.
No, I'm worried about the comic and the tape.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So they're from Earth -22, where he has like a knockdown, drag out fight with the Joker. And the Joker is like Jokerizing children and everything, just really out of control. Mind you, the man who laughs is narrating this whole thing to us, or to someone, right? So he's got Batman like all mangled up, so Batman decides to kill him. You know? Just end this forever. But it's too late because he's already put some kind of Joker poison inside Batman at this point. Right? And it starts to show you over the next few days how Batman is slowly changing. And he invites all of his proteges to the Batcave to have a talk with them about whatever Joker's done to him. You know, like it's affecting him. It's destroying his moral core. Your moral core, right? Yeah. I mean, Superman at one point has a conversation with him prior to this about like some really horrible stuff that's happening, and Batman starts giggling. He's like, "I'm sorry, it's not funny." You know, because I'm trying to deal with whatever the Joker did. So anyhow, Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, Jason Todd, whatever, they all show up, and Batman confesses.
The artwork's amazing.
The artwork's great. The artwork is by Riley Rossmo. Rossmo, right? So anyhow, yeah, he's at this point he's crazy Jokerized, and he just starts shooting them all up. And it goes completely down the hill from there. He attacks Superman, and horrible stuff is happening to Superman. Lois is on the Watchtower. Horrible stuff is happening to Jonathan. Both of them have like bleeding eyes. And Batman, who's lost it already, just throws black kryptonite at them so that Superman and Jonathan will turn on their family. And like that's it. You just read the horrible cries of Lois, being murdered and them murdering each other. So yeah, anyhow, totally hate him. Everything I hated. It's everything I hate about Batman and Joker all rolled into one. And then, of course, his own son Damian and the other kids he rounds up to be Robin. And he's got
Are those the Robins that he has in the chains?
Yep. And it's so screwed up because Jokerized Damian's like, can I play with Jonathan yet? Like all just so horrible. I don't even know who he's got beaten and bloodied and tied up in the chair, but he just goes on and on about like we're the greatest thing in the multiverse, because the Batman who laughs is the Batman who can't lose. It's just really, it's sick.
Ooh.
It's good. It's really well done because it made me feel like nauseous and angry. So that's a good sign.
Is this the same writer who's doing the main series Metal?
Yes, he's one of the main writers. Yes, James Tynion. So, yes, that was James Tynion IV on writing and Riley Rossmo on art. Which then brings us over to more metal.
Yeah. Justice League, number 33.
Yes, the Bats Out of Hell finale.
And
Yay!
This is also a Dark Knight's metal tie-in.
Yes, so if you remember the last issue we read, which took place in Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, Hal really fought almost to a standstill the Dawnbreaker Batman, the Green Lantern one who harnesses dark energy, from an 8-year-old boy who is now God knows how old he is. I'm just saying, let's keep it in context. But he had him on the ropes, and then of course he got defeated.
Yep.
Hey Zane.
Hey Zane, how's it going?
So anyhow, now it's all about Cyborg, right? And they're just trying to strip Element X from Cyborg.
Yeah.
Right? By the way, big surprise, Becca's father, Hyman, from the New Gods, is the creator of Element X, just for those of you who didn't know, because it's not like this issue tells you. And Cyborg as well is watching himself being defeated over and over and over by Barbatos. Just like all the other heroes have been subjected to that. Joshua Williamson wrote this issue. Tyler Kirkham and Michael Janin share art duty. So anyhow, inside Cyborg, the mother box that he's joined with starts talking to him. And it's like, I'm the Element X. Just let go of yourself. Let me take over, right? And we'll win. I will save the multiverse from these monstrous people. And Cyborg's like, no, because there'll be nothing left of me. Like, you're going to erase who Victor Stone is. So Cyborg does a minor upgrade. He embraces more he embraces the Element X technology, but does not give himself over to the mother box. Ooh. And then of course he's an upgraded Cyborg, so now he has all this power, and all he needed was just to get fired up and break free of their control to rally the other Justice League members. And they're like, we tore you apart, one Cyborg. And Wonder Woman's like, but he was alone then. And then they just start going for it. Just Wonder Woman, the Flash, Green Lantern, Dr. Fate teleports people in for more support.
That's awesome.
Oh, and there was a voice inside Cyborg's head telling him, don't do this, Victor. Don't give yourself over. I'm a friend, right? And the voice was actually Raven. And so Raven is revealed to him, and the Justice League are like, we can do this, we can stop them, and I have what we need, now that I've embraced this Element X technology. And then they take off from all the villains. You know what? I'm a little mad at the letterer, because if you notice, all the lettering for Barbatos is not the lettering they used before.
Oh, yeah.
But yet this guy's freaking lettering is the same in every issue. Yeah. Freaking Man Who Laughs. So the issue ends with, they're going to do exactly what we wanted anyway. Mwahaha! But thumbs up. I mean, I am enjoying the series, and I'm the first one who wants to hate it, but I'm not hating it that much. Batman Tim really irked me as if you look back several weeks, but it's good. I'm excited to see where it goes, and I just want Hawkman to save the day. I'm so angry with the situation. Batman cannot save the day. Like, no matter what, like, if it cannot end with Batman saving everyone. That will ruin the whole thing for me.
Batman Metal in general still a woo?
Still a woo. I mean, I've read crossovers. I think of all the crossovers I've read in my life, I still think the DC ones have the better crossovers.
Yeah.
Not to say that Marvel hasn't had some good ones, but didn't love Secret Invasion, which, by the way, is an idea that I insist was stolen from me because I don't know how to keep my mouth shut at conventions. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. I'm glad they stole it from me. I just don't like what they did with it.
If you're going to steal an idea, do it well.
Yeah. So there's that. Then there's I didn't like The Siege. And I thought there was so much missed potential there. I thought there was missed potential with Secret Invasion. I don't know. There's just a lot of events they've had, and I just feel like there's missed potential. Unlike, of course, back in the day, I mean, they wanted to have their own crisis, so they had Secret War. Secret War is wonderful and iconic and filled with amazing moments. Like the fact that Thor single-handedly defeated the Masters of Evil to get back to the heroes in that story is just such a great issue. But then their last Secret War Super Saga was also pretty good. I very much, in fact, but again, the Thor Corps was an amazing book on its own, and it almost outshined the main series.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
Hey, Chris.
So that's going to bring us to Supergirl number 15. Can I just tell you, I love this cover. I almost picked this up on the cover alone because this is such a gorgeous cover. In fact, I may still pick up this issue. Is this a starting a new story at all?
Yes.
It is? Oh,
yeah,
I'm definitely going to pick it up.
This is actually In Plain Sight Part 1.
That's awesome. And
it's written by Steve Orlando and Jody Hauser.
Our buddy Steve Orlando.
And I tweeted both of them today to tell them I love what they're doing. So what I like about this issue is some of the stuff that left me rattled in issue 13, they are still addressing here in issue 15. So like Magog is a captive of the DEO. Mm-hmm. Dr. Veritas hates working for Mr. Bones. Like basically he's all but spit in his face, which I love. And Kara is just spending all of her time trying to be Kara Danvers and Supergirl and hope that the DEO doesn't kill her. And of course, but she's a wanted woman. And then of course she's in public, she's actually rescuing somebody and she gets shot twice by DEO agents.
Ooh.
With bullets that can actually hurt her. So she got the heck out of there and healed and whatever. And then in her school, there's a DEO agent who is all over her as well. So I really liked it. There's nothing like crazy happening in this issue, but it's really good. It introduces to a lot of new characters. It's definitely a setup issue. And then
that's not a bad thing too. It's nice to have a slowdown.
It's good. It's good, especially because it's part 1. Yeah. So this is an excellent part 1 because all the chess pieces are being set up for you. And I think it's really good. So it's a very personal issue. You see how Kara's adopted parents talking about trying to take care of her and protect her. Of course, Supergirl can hear it with her super hearing. The confrontation with Dr. Veritas and Mr. Bones. And then the mention of Sharon Vance, who we have not heard from since our Worlds at War was the last time we heard of Sharon Vance. Because Sharon Vance is Strange Visitor. And she is revealed on the final page of this issue as Strange Visitor in her weird getup. And she's screaming, "What has Supergirl done to me?" So I thought that was a good cliffhanger. Definitely pick this book up. I'll try not to ruin any more of it for you. But awesome. Everything's a pretty good woo for me this week. And 2 big woos, which I'm very excited about.
Nice.
This was a pretty big woo. I really because again, like I like when the series addresses things that leave me all tussled up. There's still a few things I'm tussled up about, but like this issue smoothed it out a little bit.
That's cool. All right. So Superman number 35, Imperious Lex.
Yes.
So is this picks up from the Apocalypse stuff?
Yes. Okay. With Lois running around with the female Furies. Jonathan escaping.
Oh, that Lois.
Jonathan escaping Steppenwolf. flying away from him.
He
Remember,
can fly now?
Yes,
Like,
remember?
like not just long jump, but fly.
He was flying. I remember I said the last issue was crazy. I'm like, Jonathan's flying. He flew away. And he found soldiers on Apocalypse beating, chaining, and roasting dogs. And Jonathan, as a proper young man, just wanted no part of this. So Jonathan went and rescued these hounds of Apocalypse.
Oh, wow.
Right? And of course, because he rescued them and fed them and treated them well, guess what? They have a new pack leader.
That's right. A new alpha male.
A new alpha male. So that's why he's on the cover riding one. It's excellent. So
It's very Mad Max-ish looking.
it's so he's having a Mad Max
this is
adventure.
awesome.
I love this kid so much. I don't want to love him this much, and I'm loving him so much. It's breaking my heart. So like, I just know one day they're just gonna like kill him or something. They're just gonna do something terrible and just shatter me.
Maybe years down the road.
Yeah. Well, they killed Damien that one time.
Oh, right.
And they also resurrected him through Apocalypse. It was bad.
Ugh.
So anyhow, Superman starts having this confrontation with Lex. Lex is like, no, you're way better at this. You be God of Apocalypse. He's like, I'll never be able to leave here. And he's like, and I have to take care of... He goes, take care of what? He's like, other things, because he can't tell him about Lois or the kid. He has been hiding Lois and the kid from Lex in every single storyline because they are constantly forced to team up. Remember the battle in the fortress against Zod? And he's like, you have to stay out of sight. Lex can't see you. You know, because he will put all of it together.
But does he? But does Lex know that there's a Superboy running
Yes,
around?
because remember he met them in the opening arc of Super Sons.
Oh.
So he knows he exists. So that's why he's like, he cannot see Jonathan. He cannot. You know?
So he just hasn't connected that it's his...
Yeah.
I mean, he probably thinks that.
He does think that, but heaven forbid he discovers Lois. Then he'll be like, oh, come on. You're the Kents. This is ridiculous.
Okay. So he doesn't know that he's Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right, that part of the old continuity did not
Gotcha.
come over.
Gotcha.
Although, even in that old continuity where he did know, the guy who allowed him to know mind wiped it from him.
Gotcha.
You know? Which was great because he's like, you know what's the worst thing is, Superman? That I remember that I did know. And I was like, oh, God. Great story. This is a great story. So at the end of it is like Jonathan with like a little bit of like New God armor on him, like leading the charge of the hounds. And like that's the cliffhanger.
That's awesome.
So
Is this one of the big woos or...
This is a woo. This is not one of the big woos. This was like, oh, I had so much fun reading this. I hope you guys like it too.
All right. Well, speaking of Jonathan, Super Sons number 10, One Fine Day, introducing the Fortress of Attitude.
That's right. The boys get their own headquarters. And the issue kicks off. The issue kicks off with Jonathan can fly. So if Jonathan
he's flying.
He
He's
is
flying.
flying, and Clark is like, this is amazing. He's just doing so much. So my theory is, remember I told you Peter G. Tomasi had introduced that idea that, let me tell you a little bit about Superman. Superman number 35 was written by Patrick Gleason and Peter G. Tomasi with art by Steven Segovia and Art Thibault. Okay. Now, Super Sons, written by Peter J. Tomasi with art by Jose Luis, which I love because I feel he nails the kids. Look and the attitude with all the drawings. And the other artists do such a great job too, but I mean, like, it didn't, in other words, I read this and I didn't feel like it was hurt by his art at all.
Yeah.
So, Jonathan...
It's always a good thing when a comic isn't hurt by the artwork.
Do you know, like, one of the big conversations I had this past week in between our shows was about how bad art and good writing equals books not sold. Mm-hmm. It's rough. So anyhow, I really enjoyed this issue.
The artwork is great.
The artwork is great. And John flies. And you know what else I love about this issue? At one point, you know, the fathers go to harass their sons and drag them out of bed. Mm-hmm. Jonathan is passed out in his room, and there is a poster of Connor Kent's Superboy in his room.
Really?
And so I really like that. Because, you know, I want my Connor Kent back. Oh, also, there's an intermezzo of future Damian Wayne. You know, like Destroyer of Gotham City, Damian Wayne. The one who, like, basically had to blow up the city to save Gotham.
Oh, yeah. Like trench coat.
Yep.
Like in front, isn't there a panel where he's like in front of the stained glass window and stuff?
And right, they made it into a hero collect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Wow.
So anyhow, it's very foreboding. And also the next issue, no, 2 issues from now in Superman, it's like I think anyhow the Superman title Super Sons Tomorrow is coming soon. I think they're gonna tie it together. I think Peter J. Tomasi is gonna lynch them. And then you see Connor.
Yeah, oh, man. It's funny because I'm a huge fan of that, Reign of the Superman series and stuff. And I remember I have all those Superboy issues, and starting from that point
all of that is in continuity except for Connor, But of course, we met the Titan Tomorrow version of Batman, or Tim Drake, who told him, "Don't forget Connor." And I remember all of this happening. And you guys don't realize how little time you have left. Also, DC has hinted that where we're headed right now with the comic and everything, and it's funny because even with the movie universe, it's hope versus despair.
Interesting.
Things like Dark Knight Metal represent despair. And I hear the 2 after credit scenes for Justice League. One represents hope and one represents despair.
Okay.
And I can't wait to see. I don't know anything else, I swear. But I love this issue, and of course they woke the boys up, which really they only had to wake up John because Damien's like, "I'm ready. I set a trap for you. Ha-ha."
Wow.
And they get their fortress.
Fortress of Attitude. Oh my gosh.
Damien doesn't like the sound of it.
Oh,
and they're both going to start going to the same private school. How cute.
Oh my gosh.
Damien's very unhappy about it.
So was there any pushback from the dads on them being superheroes? Or
Yes,
was it
throughout.
Okay.
There's always a certain amount. And for instance, Connor's flying and his telescopic vision has kicked in. And he's Jonathan's at the beginning of this issue, Jonathan's telescopic vision kicked in, and he's like, "Oh, Dad, I see a big Billy Burger being robbed." He goes, "Go in, disable the guns, and get out of there. Let the police take care of the rest, right?" And he's like, "Okay," and he just flies off and handles it.
Oh.
And Superman's like, "Oh, my boy." And I really like that because prior to that, because Connor's powers were underdeveloped, Superman was much more protective, and then a little bit less protective when he's hanging out with Damien, and now it's just, just good to go. See, next Super Sons tomorrow. So I think it's going to be in both titles. But what a great ending, where it's like let's see what's on the monitor alert that we can do, and it's like, "Oh, look, it's Chemo. Chemo's roaming the city. Let's go attack him. Let's go take him down."
This is a job for Superboy and Robin. And Damien goes, "I hate you."
It's so great. It's so great.
That's amazing. I might start picking this up because
it's the greatest thing ever. It's like the Joy book.
Now that I've got kids, I feel like that I would get a lot out of this. Superman's a dad and
How about when the first time the boys were out all night and they come home and Alfred and Lois are waiting to reprimand them?
Oh, jeez.
Like that is something that I know. Yeah. Well, you haven't had to experience it yet, thankfully, but there's that part of you where you're like, I would have to reprimand my children like this.
Ooh. So, woo.
It's a big woo.
Big woo. Big woo for this. Awesome. All right. So let's dive into a couple of Marvel books.
I'm reading Marvel for you people. Appreciate this. Ooh. So this is Doctor Strange 381 under the new regime. And it is part 1 of Loki, the Sorcerer Supreme.
No.
I love it.
Not Loki. Lenticular cover, too.
Absolutely. This issue is written. I picked up the lenticular. I had to fight for the lenticular, by the way.
Adam, can I get the table cam? I'm going to show off this lenticular cover.
So this issue is...
There we go. Keep going.
Okay, he's written Thanos. Donny Cates with a C. He's written Thanos, Doctor Strange, as he is currently, God Country, Baby Teeth, Redneck, Star Trek, The Paperbacks, A Tomahawk, Interceptor, Ghost Fleet, and Buzzkill. This man has a wonderful resume. Also, the art is by Spanish artist Gabriel Hernandez Walta. The issue's great, the art's great, and it's just wonderful because there's so much. The issue's a really good setup issue, and there's a ton. This is a hearty read.
Yeah,
I want you to know, and it's just explaining why? Well, Stephen, why aren't you Doctor Strange? Why is it Loki? What has happened? Well, apparently there was a challenge, and Loki won, and he took on the mantle of Doctor Strange.
Fair and square.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Loki feels like, well, Stephen had all this power to see all these things, and he wasn't doing everything in his power to protect his realm. So I should do it because everybody hates me, and I have the power, and I want to help. Every time Loki says he wants to help, I'm torn between believing him and like, what do you really want?
Why? Does he have a cell phone?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Are we unboxing something?
No. That's just what we call that camera.
We should be
Yeah,
unboxing Gotham Girls.
Gotham Girls.
Yes.
We could do that. I mean, I just have to go grab it.
You should. I'll do a song and dance. It'll be great. I won't do a song and dance. I promise.
We could have Adam go grab it.
Oh, that's right. Even better.
When we go to the top 10.
That's right. So it's a really good issue, and even like, oh my god! So you know that bar where all the mystics hang out, all the mystical characters.
Yeah.
Vaguely, right?
Yeah.
Like, so anyhow, so he goes to visit there, and like Scarlet Witch is giving him nothing but crap. Right? Which I love, because do not forget that when he was running around as Loki the Woman, he did pose as Scarlet Witch as well, on top of everything else. That's right, he was running around in stolen Lady Sif's body as Loki and also posing as Wanda. So I think there's a lot of animosity there from Wanda. So now Thor, Jane Foster, confronts him.
Yep.
And he tells her, just take me away, just chain me up. Don't let me be the Sorcerer Supreme, whatever. And she's like, don't even you tire of your own bullcrap? Right? And he's like, okay, fair. And he's like, let me show you something. So he shows her this part of Earth where the Frost Giants are like setting up a refuge. And he's like, and he goes, I can see all this now because I'm the Sorcerer Supreme. Mm-hmm. He's like, don't you think someone should do something about this? He goes, I'm going to do something about it. So she's like, you know what, Loki? Fine. But once you start showing some of your true colors, I'll be here. So Wanda finds Dr. Stephen Strange herself, confronts him, and he's playing doctor, a real doctor. And he goes, all I wanted to do was, learn to heal my hands so I could heal people, and I'm doing real good here. And she goes, fine, let Loki run around while you continue to play Dr. Dolittle. And she leaves. And then the dog on the ground starts talking to him, like, what did she mean by Dr. Dolittle? He's like, it's a doctor who speaks to animals. And he goes, oh, so that was a good joke. And you see that it's not a hospital, it's a vet clinic that he now runs. See?
Doctor Strange the vet. Oh, that's great.
So needless to say, I read a Marvel comic and I gave it a huge woo because I'm hooked. I tweeted
I may have to pick this up because that is amazing.
It is. It's really good and I want to see what Loki does. And I tweeted the whole staff this morning
awesome.
to be like, I love this comic.
That's amazing.
It was really great.
All right, so next on the Marvel train is The Incredible Hulk, Return to Planet Hulk, Part 1.
Okay, so this is from like last month. So I'll give you a quick summary. Okay, if you guys remember me doing the what was it, Generations the Hulks?
Yeah.
Or the Gamma Radiate, whatever. Point is,
Gamma something. Gamma
oh my God, what is this boy's name? Who's the Hulk?
Amadeus.
Thank you. Amadeus Cho gets a call from Sakaar. Right? Mm-hmm. The planet. And he's like, oh, this is great. Let me go investigate. Like, these people...
Because he's never been to Sakaar, right?
He's never been to Sakaar. So he goes through the wormhole that is now operable, right? Mm-hmm. And the same thing happens to him that happens to Hulk. He gets totally weakened going through, ends up on the planet. They have a new warmongering leader.
Great.
And he pairs them off with these like red insect-like people. And there is a new meek character, by the way, who is not a traitor, let's be clear. And so he's with this squad of red aliens, and he's thrust into the... Okay, so he already made it through. Part 1, he makes it through, and he has to fight. That's part 1. Part 2, he's made it through. This is part 2.
Oh, this is... I'm sorry. So this is not the first Legacy issue.
No.
This is the second Legacy issue.
Yeah, cut to... We should cut to the next image.
Sorry, this is... so this is from last month. This issue from last month.
Yes,
Gotcha.
because I had to...
This is the issue that we're talking about today.
I had to backpedal.
Gotcha.
So, so yeah, the issue we're talking about today. So he's there, he's caught in the arena, and he's having an internal dialogue with his Hulk, and he lets his Hulk cut loose. And the crowd starts screaming, World Breaker, break our world, right? And so, like, the Hulk is like, roar! Like, the Hulk is, like, all about doing this. And you want to know what's really messed up? I think the Hulk inside Amadeus is literally the Hulk that he removed from Bruce.
From Bruce.
So I do believe that this Hulk is still the Bruce manifestation of Hulk, because when they're talking inside of his mind, he talks to him the way he talks to the Hulk normally. He's like, "Big guy, come on, calm down. You gotta let me have control now. Calm down, so I can take over."
Wow.
And when, of course, I haven't been really following Amadeus' adventures because,
Right.
I just haven't been interested. Now I'm interested. I'm in. So, again, I tweeted Greg Pak and Greg Land to be like, Greg Land's on Twitter, though. I'm like,
Oh, Greg Pak wrote this?
yes. So we're back on Planet... And Greg Land.
Because I love his Batman Superman comic.
But we're back on Planet Hulk with the original people of Planet Hulk.
Whoa.
So I think it's great. It's a great sequel. I love the story. There's another traitor. He has his own traitor, different species, And then to shake things up, that damn traitor, he's there. They use him to we want to send the signal through that wormhole and see what happens. And he's like, "Why do you want to send a signal through that wormhole? Won't his friends show up?" And they're like, "No, we're hoping his enemies."
Oh my god.
And the very next day in the arena, sure enough, one of Hulk's enemies is waiting for him.
Wow.
So a huge woo. I'm so in. Go pick up these 2 issues. You won't be disappointed.
And did you see the tease for next issue?
Yes. Unworthy Thor joining the arena. Not that he would be one of the villains that they would want for him.
No, but so we're still in a woo.
Oh yeah, big woo.
Big woo. Big woo.
And then from big woo to ambivalent feelings.
All right, let's get the table cam for this one. All right, so we got the mic thing figured out. Let's do the table cam here. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, we're on it. All right. So this came out today. This is Justice League Day. It's a free comic with artwork depicting the characters from the new Justice League movie.
Yep.
So Cliff, tell us about this because I actually did pick it up, but I didn't get a chance to read it.
And it's a free digital comic too. All it is Justice League New 52 #1 reprinted.
Which is
With new advertising.
which is the start of them coming together.
Yes. Not one of my favorite stories. But I chose to reread it again to, kind of get a feel and a vibe. And I'm really happy that the movie isn't literally taking a page from this. The entire first issue is really Green Lantern and Batman taking jabs at each other.
And discovering that each one is real, for the first time.
Yeah, but that happens pretty quick in the first couple of pages. And then trying to put together. Also, we get a little taste of Cyborg's origin here.
Yeah. Because in the New 52 universe, it's really Cyborg's creation that brings them. It's part of the puzzle that brings them together.
Yeah.
It's the Darkseid invasion. It's Cyborg's.
It's mostly the Darkseid
origin
invasion.
story, but yeah, but it's
because the parademons raining from the sky caught everybody's attention.
a little bit,
Just a little.
Oh, it wasn't in the forecast today.
So yeah, I mean it's free, so sure, pick one up while you're picking up your comics.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I don't know. If you love the story before, love it again. If you've never read it before, it highly recommends you go pick up the hardcover for Justice League Origins. So anyhow, I just wanted to talk about it because clearly they put this out for the movie, so anyone's interested in the movie, this is something you could read for free just to kind of see if you want to dabble in comics. What's really funny is with all the Justice League stories that I personally love, I don't know if this is the one that I would pick.
True. I think this one though is it's the most modern telling of the Justice League coming together, and I'm
Yeah.
assuming that that's why they picked it.
And it still involves Darkseid.
And I bet you there's more of an impression from this story in the new movie than in a lot of other Justice League origins.
And I hope not. The best moment from this is actually already used in the Wonder Woman movie, and that's her discovery of ice cream.
That's right. I actually remember that.
You know? Other things I don't like about it. It sets up the Wonder Woman Superman romance where they're punching parademons out of the sky, and he's like, "You're strong," and she's like, "I know." And I'm laughing. I actually kind of enjoyed that moment.
It's the thing about the New 52 is that they did some different things.
Yep. And of course I have feelings on Cyborg being there because I love Cyborg's introduction and growth of character through Marv Wolfman and George Perez's New Teen Titans, and I think it's amazing and it's beautiful, and everybody should read it because
and
it's
a lot of
great.
people agree with that Cyborg is a Teen Titans character and is part of that mythos and that family, and that he's not necessarily a Justice League member or even a Justice League founder.
Yeah, which now he is a founder. So I'm thrown by that because, I mean, because I love the character. I want him to have the best of both worlds. I would love to see Cyborg as the character who was a Teen Titan, who grew into becoming a key member of the Justice League. Instead, you know, we have a really wonky situation with him, especially with the timeline resettling. You know, we don't know what's really going on. But anyhow, but I did get into an argument a couple weekends ago on, like, you know, somebody said, you know, stop trying to make Cyborg happen. And I was like, no, Cyborg has everything you need to be a member of the Justice League.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take that away from him either. But yeah, I still love the character no matter what. We got anyone talking to us?
Not at the moment. So if you get a chance to pick this up, pick it up. It's a cool story. If you like what's in there, go ahead and pick up the Justice League New 52 Volume 1.
Yes, absolutely. Origins. My honorable mention for this week, I want to mention Sooner, also by Greg Pak, on shelves now. It's issue 4 of Met Cadet U.
Met Cadet U.
Remember I told you about it? It was like really lighthearted. It's like,
oh yeah,
yes, with the young kids like getting into the giant robots.
Yeah,
the book is great. It brings a smile to my Facebook. It was also part of my tweet to Greg today. It was great.
That's awesome. All right, well let's go. Let's move on to what did we watch?
I'm so proud I have all these notes.
For the comics?
Yes,
yeah.
And for more.
I should. Oh, you have notes on the movies too?
No, that's going to come from the heart.
No. All right, let's move on to what did we watch. This is going to be our top 10 DC property movies.
But let me say something first.
He's going to say something first.
So, Supergirl this week.
Yes.
The episode was
the show.
The show.
Yeah.
The episode. Did you watch it?
Yes, I did.
Right on, man. Right on. Talk about a woo. All right. So, Isabella Vidovic played Kara. And Olivia
they were so
Nikanen
good.
Played young Alex.
The young versions of the
It was so good that I was like, oh my God. I'm like, you could give them a show on Freeform. Like I was
the young Danvers Adventures.
No, call it Midvale. Just call the show Midvale.
Oh, Midvale, yeah.
I could, like, dude, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it right now. Like, it was so good. Those girls were such good matches for their older counterparts. I was incredibly impressed. And then the insane name dropping of Chloe Sullivan.
That, like, because you had mentioned that on Facebook before I saw the episode, and that threw me for a loop. Because
me too.
There was another,
There's another Smallville drop that night too.
Oh, and that night? Because
and then Erica Durance is a guest star in that episode.
I know. Oh my God. Which it was actually
Marcia
somebody else.
Manhunter.
Oh, I wasn't gonna spoil it, but anyway, it was very interesting that he made her, that he decided to choose her mother.
Yes.
To like show up as the FBI agent. It was kind of interesting.
Someone who just looked like her mom.
Yeah.
Well, no, because he knew it would. He knew it would mess with her enough.
There was also another DC nod in Legends of Tomorrow. Did you see
The
Legends
biggest DC nod.
So this is a huge
Legends
spoiler.
Tomorrow.
If you, I mean, not a huge spoiler, but a very cool spoiler. If you haven't seen it yet,
huge because it's the
skip
payoff.
over this.
It's the payoff of the episode.
So I have a question about this. So what happened? So basically, Helen of Troy is the anachronism is that Helen of Troy is in early Hollywood, and she's messing with Hedy Lamarr's career.
Yeah.
And part of that is affecting the Wave Rider because she had a patent, some kind of signal patent, communication patent, or something that is what the Wave Riders, a lot of the Wave Rider systems are based on.
Our Bluetooth technology is based on Hedy Lamarr's
Right.
idea. Her and a musician came up with it where it's an off-frequency rhythm so
Right.
that they could control torpedoes. But the military came up with their own thing, and now we have Bluetooth. I know, so I'm shortening it a bit much.
So at the end of the episode, they're basically taking Helen of Troy, and she's begging them not to send her back to the war. And between Troy and Athens?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, between Troy and Athens. And in the end, I forget what her name is. What's the new girl's name?
Maria. No, it's
No.
Zari.
It's Zari.
Remember,
Because he calls
Mighty Isis.
because
I'll never use that name.
Because Ray always calls her Z, and
Yes.
I always forget her name. So so she decides not to take her back. She decides, oh well, history recorded that the war went fine. So she drops her off at this island, this secluded island, and she says,
Island of Warrior Women.
"What an island of warrior women!" And immediately I'm like, "There's no way they're making a nod." And sure enough, when she leaves, the little text pops up on the screen: Themyscira, 1289 BC, and I was like, "What?" That's
It was
awesome.
so great. So great.
Let me ask you this: Is that from something? Or is that a nod to something? Is it?
No, it was just
it's just a cute little.
It was
like,
just a cute little thing,
Yep.
but it lets us know there is a Themyscira in the Arrowverse.
that is amazing.
And a few weeks ago, he straight up mentioned Bruce Wayne by name.
Yes.
So-
they're branching out. I think they're getting ready for something.
I think they're getting ready for something too, which is fine. I'm totally down with it. And I know I'm putting the cart way before the horse, but I keep thinking, I'm like, will one of these crossover events fuse Supergirl's timeline to theirs? That's what I keep thinking. You know, like I don't think Crisis on Earth X will do it, but then it could because
I was
hoping Flashpoint would have done it.
I don't think that'll ever happen. But what I do think is happening, and I have no basis in this, just my hopes and dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if Justice League goes well and the DC universe continues their progression in good movies and money making movies, I bet you in like 2021 we're gonna get, Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it's gonna be.
Well, you're not the only
everything.
person who thinks this. There's my friend Kevin told me,
And
back when we saw Man of Steel, he already had this idea.
And the thing is that Warner Brothers and DC would be stupid not to do that. They have everything laid out. They have everything out there. If we can accept a Flash, two Flashes, a movie Flash and
Yep.
a TV Flash, if we can accept a TV Deathstroke and a movie Deathstroke, we've already accepted a TV Superman and a movie Superman. If we can do that, we're Gotham is introducing us to Batman .01. I mean, if we can accept all these in the different universes, there is no reason not to do some major thing where, like, you do what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did with Winter Soldier on a larger scale, where you have an episode of the show one week.
I'm a little afraid of how they're going.
Introduces it, and then you have this big movie event.
Well, no, you do it at winter break. You have the shows lead up to a winter break,
Yep.
and then in December release it in theaters in time for Christmas, and just let it roll. And then when the holiday break is over and the shows come back to TV, they can all take place after.
I think you do it summertime, as close to summertime as you can.
No.
Just like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did, because you can't have that much time. You can't do it a month away. You got to do week one. TV shows come out, everything leads into the big event, and then weekend box office, boom, huge movie event. Everybody goes and sees it, and then the following week, the shows pick right back
How
up.
about the season finales?
You got to have a
Right.
second episode the week after, though.
No,
Yes.
no.
Just like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did.
It
was so amazing when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did
Right,
it.
but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did it with minimal involvement. Right? This would be, we're literally going to have the characters come on off of one screen and
Right.
into
That's
the
why
other.
you got to do it on. You got to bookend it with the TV shows.
I don't love it.
Like you can do the second episode as the finales, but it's just that would be just so huge. Like
No, for me, I would season finale, blockbuster summer film, season premiere. What happened next?
that's not bad. I would
You
take
know,
that.
because
I would take that.
and
maybe you could even do like 2 weeks of episodes. Like week one is like, oh, there's stuff happening, blah blah blah, and then all the TV shows come together at the end of that. Then week 2, all the TV shows are together, and you've got 4 hours of television or 6 hours, however many shows they want to do. They all tell a story that leads into the big movie event, and then like
don't let
that'd be
me
amazing.
don't let me Don't let me put me in charge of this, because I would start planting Easter eggs in everything from here on forward.
Well, that's what I think these are the Easter eggs. Is what I'm
Maybe they
saying.
are. Maybe they are.
Like, I think these are a little bit. I mean, and we could just be. This could be all false, and I'm sure that they.
Right, a lot of it can just be fan service.
Yeah.
There's still like there's things that go back when I watch the old Marvel films. I'm like, wow, look at all these things I didn't detect, and all these things played out, and they're wonderful. And there's other things that are literally there for fan service.
Yeah.
The gauntlet in the Asgardian chamber, right?
Yeah.
It's not the Infinity Gauntlet. That was for fan service, and fans got crazy about it. And look what happened. In Ragnarok, it's like, this is fake, smack.
Yeah.
Because like it needed to be pointed out to fans
Yeah.
that was just fan service.
Yeah.
And that's not what really happened. And it's not the real Infinity Gauntlet. Don't worry. Like, so I think a lot of stuff is just fan service. It could turn into something.
Yeah.
Somebody could go, ooh, how can we mess with this? Because we can always mess with it. There could be someone sitting behind the scenes with, Greg Berlanti be like, if they ever want to do it, I've already created the map on how we do it.
Yeah. He's got a draft email with Jeff Johns' email address, and he's like ready to send.
Do you know how they brought in comics Jean Grey back after they destroyed the Phoenix? Do you know who came up with that?
Who?
A young Kurt Busiek.
Really?
Yep. Who had befriended, I forgot one of the writers involved. There's 2 writers involved. He befriended one of the writers and actually stayed a whole week with him for a comic book convention, was in his home, and they were talking about comics, and he laid out his idea for how Jean Grey should return. And then that guy contacted John Byrne, who was doing the Fantastic Four at that time, and he's like, I love it, we're going to do it. He's like, we're going to run with it. And it was Kurt Busiek's idea that the real Jean Grey is in a pod at the bottom of Jamaica Bay, Queens.
Wow.
Right? And then sure enough, part 1 of The Return of Jean Grey is in the pages of Fantastic Four.
All right. Also, shout out to Flash this week. Great episode. I loved
Yes.
it. I loved it.
Elongated Man. First, his debut, it didn't feel like Elongated Man to me. He still almost feels like Plastic Man, but he's also starting to feel like Ralph.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get it soon.
Yeah.
He needs to
great.
be a little less.
And I'm
Plastic
sure
Man.
they're melding those characters like.
I know, but like they are unique enough. Like the real Ralph.
I know,
the
but like
comics is
to the
all about-
generic viewer, you can't have 2 rubbery.
I
plastic
know,
men.
but like, God, people stop being. If we can embrace Superman on TV and Superman in a movie, you guys
I know,
can
but that's
embrace
the same character in 2 different places.
God, embrace it. There's 2 characters with the same power set.
Too much.
It's not. We have Superman, Supergirl.
Oh, I'm exhausted already.
And we haven't got to our top 10.
All right, let's get to our top 10. So first, honorable mentions, which your honorable mention is actually my number 10.
Yep.
And my honorable mention is the Lego Batman movie. I know it's not live action, but it was so good, and I feel like it nailed the character of Batman so well, like the essence of Batman. I couldn't leave it. Yes,
maybe not the character.
I just couldn't like not include it. Although I guess I should save that for the animated one that we're gonna do at some point. So anyway,
It's a little weird because I don't like things that push a romance between Bruce and Barbara. And even though it's a Lego movie, it still kind of does that.
I feel like, I feel like though, like Bruce tried to push that, and Barbara was like,
It just doesn't matter. It's one of those things I don't like people going there. I'm like, no, that feels like bat incest. Stay away from it.
All right, so let's hop into top 10. You're gonna go first. So your number 10 is
Green Lantern. Now, how could this have landed on my top 10? Well, for starters, Ryan Reynolds is awesome.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of you didn't like him as Al Jordan. But where does this movie succeed versus where does it fail?
I like a lot of this movie. In fact,
Yeah.
I was telling Adam before we started, the section on Oa
It's amazing.
is amazing.
Yeah,
that whole section is amazing.
Yeah. So actually, I mean, it might be easier to talk about this movie's biggest flaw. The movie's biggest flaw is Parallax.
Definitely its biggest flaw of many, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, but the other ones are like kind of forgivable. The other ones are like flaws that still exist in superhero origin films.
I
You
guess
know?
I feel like there's a fundamental problem with the execution of the beginning of this movie. I feel like there's no established tone
Yeah.
or the tone that they eventually like. I really don't feel like there's an established tone.
You're
Like the
probably
whole
right about that.
the whole introduction of Hal Jordan, where he's driving in the car wrapping a present,
Yep.
or something, like it just doesn't that the tone of that and then Abin Sur, like it just does not.
The two
fix-
tones don't mesh.
And-
on the other hand, it does kind of work to his origin, right? Because here you have this guy who just seems like a wreck, and then you have this very serious thing that's happening.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'm bestowing the ring to you. That guy who was wrapping a present in his car, why? So I do appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know. And the other problem I have is I feel like there's absolutely zero chemistry between Hal and his best friend, who is, by the way, played by Taika Waititi, the
Yes.
director of Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
Who I realized does an American accent in this movie.
Yes.
I don't know why. I just like he doesn't need. I don't know why he has to do an American accent, but
I mean, he's supposed to be playing a Hawaiian guy, so it's already a mess.
yeah. Anyway, I
Not
feel
that
like,
not that the movie actually goes out of its way for
I
that.
feel like the beginning of this movie like just doesn't quite hit the right mark, and then the stuff on Oa is like its own movie, and it's so good. Mark Strong as Sinestro,
amazing.
just like whoa.
Mark
like,
Strong, every time he plays a villain, plays a phenomenal villain.
So
phenomenal.
he's just such a he just has such weight as,
Also,
as an actor.
oh, you know, gravitas. He has gravitas. Every scene, gravitas. But God, there are so many things I like about this. I don't have a big problem with the opening, and I love the way that Hal's development and Hector Hammond's development are like beautifully orchestrated side by side throughout the film.
Mm-hmm.
That is really well done, and we don't get too many superhero movies that do that properly. I actually will give credit to Man of Steel for doing it. I think we actually do see the development of Clark and
Yeah.
the development of Zod, and their motivations are well executed. Like, look at me giving a compliment to Man of Steel.
I know. Well, we'll talk about that later because it's on my list.
And I gotta tell you, this is one of the hardest lists.
This was a very hard list.
This
to
was
come up
like
with.
so, and like harder for us for different reasons.
Yeah.
Because like I was like trying to put like technical and emotional together, and like I guess mine is really gonna be. I think this one landed on there for technical. I think it did a lot of things right, but it was overshadowed by how very many things it did wrong. The ultimate use of Hector, blah.
Yeah, it's just
Parallax.
weird.
Parallax is the greatest sin in this entire movie for me.
Yeah.
The after credit scene with Sinestro, also completely out of nowhere. Why?
Yeah.
What was the motivation for that? You just saw willpower truly defeat fear.
I almost feel like that moment would have been better served at the beginning of a sequel.
Yes.
Like to establish like there's a conflict between him and the Guardians that causes him to seek an alternative.
Yeah.
And that alternative is the Ring of Fear. And I think that I would love I actually think the biggest sin of this movie is that it's so bad we don't get a sequel with Mark Strong as villain Sinestro.
On the other hand, who knows? It's a big multiverse.
There
out
was,
there.
and I'll tell you, there was some mumblings about this still being within the DC movie universe.
And it might, and we'll have to see Justice League to find out. You don't know. So I have at least 50 Facebook friends who have all seen this movie either Monday night, Tuesday night, or they are seeing it tonight. Of the people who've seen it Monday and Tuesday, all of them, everyone says, just tell us the Green Lantern is in the movie. And every single one of them, their answer is, you gotta see the movie. Every single one of them. And let me tell you, if it's specifically him, I will scream.
I would not be upset. I'll be honest.
I would scream.
I would not be
No,
upset.
I would be good screaming, but I
Yeah,
would scream.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did take a lot of time with that. But yes, I feel like I put it on there because of its technical merits.
I certainly thought about it, but I just felt like it didn't it didn't feel like it was cohesive enough to be, you know.
Well, I mean, it's still...
For me anyway.
But it's still a beginning, a middle, and end. That, you know, it's like... I wouldn't blame... Like, I'm not lost watching this movie. I don't feel like this
Yeah.
movie is plotless. It's got a plot. It's just not great.
Right.
You know, there's other ones we could talk about where it's like this movie, like what was the plot? Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
No, that doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist.
Right, because
all right, so my top 10 is an old throwback. Probably a lot of people don't know this movie exists. This is 1982's Swamp Thing, directed by Wes Craven. Okay, now this movie is incredibly dated for its time. It feels like an old movie. The special effects are by no means special, but
that makes it charming, though.
it is a very charming film. Number one, number two. Wes Craven delivers some emotionally impactful scenes. The main characters, the lead actors,
the actors sell this movie.
they really put their heart and emotion and their performances. Ray Weiss plays Dr. Holland.
Yes.
Hollander.
Alec Holland. Yeah.
Holland. Dr. Holland. He does not play Swamp Thing.
That's Dirk Durock.
Yeah, Dirk
Who's
Durock.
played him ever since.
That's true, in the TV shows and everything. But there are great moments in this movie. They treat the characters with such respect, and
I think Wes Craven knew what kind of movie he wanted to do
absolutely.
here.
There's a clear vision in this movie.
Yeah.
Unlike Green Lantern, you feel like this is a cohesive movie. There is like the tone is set, the performances are consistent.
The side characters are awful.
Like
everyone who's not a main character is awful.
Like the acting is just absolutely terrible. I mean, it's not.
But they're acting. The people who matter make it matter.
The characters.
This scene is a great example.
Yeah, I mean, they really take such care, and the characters are really thought out and well supported through everything else in the production. It's great, and that's why it's my top 10.
And you know what? I approve. And there's a little part of me.
And this was your honorable mention.
This became my honorable mention really fast because I can't believe I didn't think about it. And I mean, I literally had a ginormous list of every DC property in front of me. And I can't believe I didn't think about this because the ones that called to my heart just called so strongly, I had to go there.
All right, so let's move on to your number 9.
My number 9 is a big shocker, and it was almost number 10.
I am surprised this made your list, but I understand why.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, I put a little annotation of why this made it, right?
Yeah.
It's the first movie of the DC extended universe that didn't feel ashamed of itself.
True.
My biggest problem.
I wouldn't.
My
say
biggest problem
was ashamed of itself.
I think so. Yes.
I feel like you felt ashamed.
No, that I was watching it.
Yes.
Only maybe the third
You're like, this
time.
isn't my Superman.
Well, the first time I watched it, I felt good, but I was angry with Jonathan Kent. And the second time I watched it, my anger with Jonathan Kent grew, and then
we're going to end up talking more about Man of Steel before we actually get to it than any other movie on this list.
And yeah, because it's my hotbed, man. I have watched it again recently, and I had. My friend Jason, who we ran into at New York Comic Con, it's really great to run into somebody you haven't seen in a few years and talk to them like it was just yesterday. And he really, really helped me pull a lot of my emotional craziness about these movies into perspective. He's like, it's okay that you can hate certain things about it and love other aspects. And so having watched the movie since, I'm like, there are several things here I like, and then there's several things that are so wrong, you'll never be able to convince me otherwise. Yeah. But anyhow, so yeah, the fact that, oh my God,
Suicide Squad,
I can't believe I have to do this comparison. Okay, but so these are, God, we'll talk about Man of Steel. Okay, I have a list for Man of Steel of what made me feel like it was embarrassed. This one not. Yeah. This one feels like it tried, especially after having seen in director's cut and read multiple interviews, especially about Jared Leto complaining about all the stuff he filmed that didn't even get into the director's cuts. But he didn't complain too much. Like, some people made it sound like he never wants to be the Joker again. I think he was just like, I spent a lot of hours being the Joker and being a lunatic and abusive to my castmates, only to not be in much of the film. Yeah. But it's not afraid of what it is. Like, the intro, right from when the movie starts, they all get like a little splash page. Yeah. I thought that was great. Yeah. It acknowledges Superman's death immediately and that has an impact on Amanda Waller's actions. excellent.
You believe that they would set up this team, that they could control, that the government would want their own solution to what Superman can no longer provide.
Or at least people within the government, such as Amanda. I bought it. I was able to buy into that. The movie is flawed in a lot of other ways. Its theatrical execution of Joker and Harley is almost unacceptable to me. Because it was clear to me watching it, they are a modern rendition of animated series Joker and Harley, but there was definitely something missing that the director's cut hits the nail on the head. The abusive part of the relationship, which I think is very important for people to understand that, because I see a lot of people who just absolutely adore Harley and Joker together. Like they think it's like a dream coupling, and I'm like, this is a nightmare. This is a nightmare.
While I enjoyed seeing them on screen together, I am not supportive of their relationship.
No. But I liked how this ushered us in to what I think was actually, in the weirdest way possible, a more positive zone of the DC universe. We got to see Batman kind of acting like animated series Batman. Yeah. You know, he confronts Deadshot, and he's like, I don't want to do this in front of your daughter. Yeah. Love that. He confronts Joker and Harley, and Joker's like got his own Joker-mobile. Very animated series. I loved it. The villain is weak, and we suffer for that. And again, weak villains make the movies suffer. There's unexplained activities like El Diablo like transforms. Okay, dude, you have this like super demon power, but then he starts speaking in the ancient tongue for no reason whatsoever. Yeah, but that's how it made it to number 9, by not being afraid of what it was, and giving us a better introduction to this universe. And then BVS immediately smacks me in the face.
Boom. All right, so my number 9 is Constantine with Keanu Reeves.
I should put this in honorable mentions.
This is my first
to Constantine the character. I really enjoyed this movie. It was weird and quirky. It's not my kind of movie.
I enjoy this movie as this movie, but not as Constantine.
I don't disagree with that. I think that there's some elements of Constantine in this character, but it is not the Constantine. It's not what's his name, Matt from Arrowverse, which was the show that got canceled. Anyway, I think they're bringing it back too. But anyway,
he's got an animated Constantine on the CWC.
Gotcha. That is Constantine. This is. I do enjoy the Constantine.
Movie that doesn't quite treat the characters with as high a respect as like Swamp Thing did, you know. But it still holds up in my book, and I really enjoy it. And I think that there's a lot of great things, and it's a fun movie to watch, you know. So that's my number 9, Constantine.
Super valid. It's really more proof why this list is hard. Because I don't hate this film, by far.
So your number 8.
My number 8 is The Losers.
Yeah.
Okay,
available now on Blu-ray and DVD. I didn't even see that when I put the picture.
First of all, look at the cast.
This cast is incredible.
Zoe Saldana, freaking
Idris Elba,
Chris Evans, who I love to death forever.
Thomas Wayne.
Yep.
And I don't know who these two guys are. It's because they're upside down.
It's horrible that it's not coming to me. It doesn't matter. It's an amazing cast. It's an entertaining film. I can watch it again. I have watched it again. I love it. And when I had a lot of people who were like, oh, I don't think Chris Evans can be Captain America. I'm like, watch this film. Have you seen this film?
I actually have not seen this.
Dude, watch this,
you know
and
why?
you will know why I said
it. It reminded me too much of, what's that other movie that has a bunch of people shooting at each other?
Is it also on our list?
No, Stoking Aces or something like that. Smoking Aces.
Maybe, but no, I would.
But anyway, it reminded me too much of that movie, and so I just didn't go see it.
but yeah, no, you should see this because it's not that.
Yeah,
It's
no,
its
I'll
own
definitely
thing.
pick it up now because yeah,
I'm
'cause
cheating
there's-
everybody. Chris Evans, Zoe Saldana, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Idris Elba,
Idris
hello,
Elba, I know.
Columbus Short, and Oscar Hayenda.
So yeah, so if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, really, like, yes, like, it's fun.
So that was your number 8, The Losers. My number 8 is a classic, Superman 2. I love Superman 2.
I love Superman too.
I've seen
All versions of it.
Yeah, I've seen both versions. I don't really have a favorite. I think they're both good in their own right. I love. There's some great comedic moments in this. The beginning, Lex Luthor and Otis escaping prison. We see Zod. Marlon Brando's back. This.
Well, Marlon Brando's back in the director's version.
right. In
Yeah,
Richard
because
Donner's
remember,
version.
it's actually Sandra.
Well, it's funny because the Richard Donner cut's the last one I watched,
Yeah.
which was just a few months ago, and I haven't seen the original version for a while, probably 10
the
years.
John Lester version.
Yeah, so
which is ridiculous because John Lester had only changed so much, and John Lester's like, it was so emotional filming that scene with Clark and Lois in the diner, and freaking Richard Donner is like, to hell with those are I filmed those scenes. I filmed them.
I like this one over Superman, the movie. I don't like the ending of Superman the movie, and we'll talk about that later because it's on somebody's list later on.
I'll defend the hell out of that ending.
That's fine. We can
Because
defend it,
do
yeah.
keep in mind
later.
Do
Defend it
keep in
later.
mi- do you keep in mind that ending is the same ending used in the director's cut of this?
Not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie, that's right, people.
But yeah, I love the first 2 Superman movies are fantastic. And
No, they have so much going for them.
Yeah, and
pacing is one of those things.
And
going
I
for
was
them.
one of the few people that mostly enjoyed Superman Returns, which is a direct sequel to this movie.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate those 3 movies as a story arc.
I wanted to love Superman Returns, but
My problem was Superman.
It didn't hurt me the way
the
Man-
movie's not even on the list. But
Yeah.
the thing I didn't like about Superman Returns is that I felt like the ending of Superman Returns, where Lois and her husband have to save Clark, have to save Superman from drowning, was the same. We literally just saw that scene in Spider-Man 2 that came out like 8 months earlier, and to me it was just like, oh, that's unfortunate. There's nothing new here. I just saw this, but Superman 2 is where it's at. That's my favorite Superman movie. Well,
a favorite
it's
Superman
my
movie.
second favorite Superman movie. So that's my number 8. So let's move on to your number 7.
Surprise, surprise! With all the smack I talk about Zack Snyder, it's Watchmen.
This is another one of my honorable mentions. It's not a perfect movie, but it is.
It is quite comic faithful.
It is, and it.
And director's cut is super awesome.
And it's beautiful.
Yep.
And it is epic.
Yep.
And you feel the comic come to life, and you feel these characters.
You're
come
saying
off the page.
everything for me. You're
And
saying everything for me.
It just. I did not read Watchmen before I saw this movie, but I got it. I understood it.
Yeah.
And Zack Snyder, and the opening title sequence alone is where Adam was saying he's never seen the movie, but he's seen the title sequence.
Yeah.
Because the title sequence alone
It's amazing.
is an amazing piece of cinema.
Oh my god, it is so amazing. This movie actually gave me like this amazing faith that Zack Snyder was the correct hands to put the DC universe in. I was really looking forward to Superman, and then everything that came out of his mouth from the moment he started filming BVS to
BVS or Man of Steel?
BVS. Because Man of Steel, the movie came out, and then it started.
Yeah.
fans don't like that Superman killed, blah blah blah. I'm like, wow, you're really being. I know fans are ridiculous, but you're really being
Double down.
Yeah,
Double down.
yeah, he really doubled down on it. So I just wasn't liking who he was as a person from that moment forward, and he just kept making it worse. He just kept making it worse. After Batman versus Superman, Batman v Superman came out. After it came out, he's like, well, you know what? He's like, well, in my world, like Batman, Batman being undercover in a jail and getting raped, like that would happen in my world. And I'm like, you said this in an interview? Like, so that was it. Like, once he started talking like that, he nailed the coffin for me. But before those dark, ugly days of me and Zack Snyder, there was Watchmen. And it is beautiful. The 80s references are on point. It's just amazing. Freaking Ozymandias with Lee Iacocca in his office. The usual greed. It's like, but how will we profit if everybody has free energy? And he's just like, you fools. Like, I loved it. And who knows, we might even get a sequel to this since DC
Or
is
a TV
pushing.
show.
Oh,
David
really?
Lindelof is doing a TV show with, I think, HBO.
Well, let's hope it's
So-
let's hope it's in the best hands ever. We're getting that Lord of the Rings Amazon show.
I know. Well, this was announced way before that.
No, I know, but I mean, there's just so much,
Oh, yeah.
so much happening.
Everybody's getting a TV show. You get a TV show. You get a TV show. You get a TV show.
I just-
By
I
the
just
way,
want
hello,
good
hello,
shows.
Chris and Touchtone. How you guys doing?
Hey, Crisco.
Yeah, I really enjoy a lot of this movie. It's not your typical superhero movie. It's so well done, our buddy from The Tick.
Yes. Oh my God, Jackie Earl Haley.
As
Playing
Rorschach,
Rorschach,
is absolutely
amazing.
Just
Amazing.
such a great movie.
I
So-
hope and pray he could do it again.
Oh,
But it'll probably take forever to get another
Yeah.
movie out.
So
but
that's-
everything's so good. Like, there's so many good things about this movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you enjoy A Feast for the Eyes, great. And guess what? I even really love the director's comedy. The director's commentary. Every time I watch it, I was like, wow, we were in such a different place, Zach.
Yeah.
You and I. Like, it's amazing.
So that's your number 7,
I
Watchmen.
talk so much, I'm sorry. Yes.
It's okay. My number 7 is Road to Perdition
Holy crap.
from Vertigo Comics.
Okay, you dug this
Nowhere
one up.
near.
I
Did you
missed
even
this.
know this was
I
on there?
missed this.
How can you not have this? This is like Oscar-winning movie.
This is amazing.
Paul Newman, Tom Hanks.
This movie. This is why it was hard. People, it was hard.
Yeah.
This movie proves that comics are for everyone.
Oh yeah.
Because this kind of story
Yeah.
was a graphic novel.
Yep.
I mean, and it's incredible.
And just so well done. And I mean, just like the performances, the cinematography, and they really take some of those visuals from the comic
And they really bring them to life.
and paint them in
Yes.
in a live action medium. It's amazing to me. I was looking at pictures to pull up. I
But
wanted
this
one
is
for
actually kind of
characters,
this is one of those moments that we're looking at right
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
That brought to life from the comic, and then just kind of this is like a perfect still.
the stuff in the rain.
Oh.
Like just right from the pages, man. Just ripped right from the pages.
What they were able to achieve, I love what people achieve visually. And remember we were talking about when you're constrained to something, you become more creative. I really feel like it was like, guys, you got to make these particular panels, they need to come to life. And just the challenge of like, we're gonna make them come to life.
Yeah.
We're gonna make that rain sequence. We're gonna make these things happen.
And the only reason it's not higher on my list is simply because when I think of comic book movies and when I want to go see comic book movies, I want to see superheroes and costumes and stuff.
Yep.
But man, this, like, you cannot deny that this adaptation of a comic book is absolutely incredible.
No, and extremely faithful.
Yeah.
And our 2 number 7s were both very faithful adaptations.
Yeah.
Good for us.
All right. So let's move on to number 6. And your number 6. Nope.
Oh no,
that's
not
right.
that. Not that guy.
Where's yours? Where's your number 6? Did I not? Oh, I missed it. Hang on. Let me grab it.
It's in your recent search.
It is. I searched it and I forgot to pick a picture. So it is. Why don't you go ahead and start talking about it?
Well, V for Vendetta. Talk about a relatively faithful comic adaptation. It's not the most faithful one, but it's beautiful. It's timely. It spoke to its audience as a graphic novel at the time it was written. It spoke to the audience in movie theaters at the time of its release, and it speaks to us now if you watch it today.
That's true. It is very topical at the moment.
It is extremely topical. It is amazing, and I mean, talk about rhetoric.
One of my honorable mentions too, and I almost put it on my list. I was so close to putting it on my list.
It's really good. It is quite possibly my favorite Natalie Portman film. Like she delivers here. She delivers. It's I don't know. There's just it's moving. It's incredible. It's
My favorite Natalie Portman film is the one where she has the baby in Walmart.
Oh,
I forget the name of that
I
movie.
know. I do too. That
Adam,
was good.
can you look that up for me?
That was also based on
the one where Natalie Portman has the baby in the Walmart.
No, that one was just based on a book though. But
Not a
I
comic
loved
book
her.
movie.
I loved her in this movie. I love the actors. I love the.
I
actors.
learned how to make toads in a hole from this
From
movie.
this movie. Yes,
Yeah.
me too. That's
Yeah.
great. Which is sad because I knew they existed before, but this
Yeah,
movie's
I had
like,
them when I was a
look,
kid, but I
guys,
was
this is
like,
the perfect
oh,
way
yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I don't even know what to say. Visually stunning, you know. The
Yeah,
acting is on.
fantastic.
The acting is on point. I don't know. I mean, like, this is like a Wachowski brothers or family. Sorry, Wachowski family.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Film.
I forgot that they did it so well. I mean, I really enjoyed this movie.
I did too. Like, I just.
Where the Heart is the movie where Natalie Portman has the baby in the Walmart. You should check that out. It's a great movie.
It actually is very good.
Is Ashley Judd also in that movie?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
yes.
she's the mother. Is she the sister, the friend, something like that? Anyway,
Yeah.
so my
Poor
number.
Ashley Judd. Reduced to that other woman in the movie.
Actually, I am a huge Ashley Judd fan, not only from her films, but also
Double Jeopardy.
No,
You don't know
what?
what?
Oh,
Kiss
yeah.
the Girls.
No.
Oh, they're all good.
Robin Leffler from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Uh-huh.
She's in 2 episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Is she really?
Look it up. Ashley Judd. She plays Wesley
You're right.
Crusher's
You're
love
right.
interest.
I remember.
She's
I actually
Robin
watched that
Leffler.
episode the other night.
Yep. The game, the one where the
Yeah.
aliens they bring back the thing. Anyway,
I love it.
so my number 7 is Batman Begins. Now this is interesting because after this we start to converge a little bit. But it's interesting that you didn't have Batman Begins on your list.
You know what?
And you didn't have Superman 2 on your list.
Superman 2 could have made the list.
Yeah.
Because for years, that was one of my favorite movies of all time. So when I was a kid, I had Superman 1, 2, and 3 on loop all the time. Even though 3 wasn't even my favorite. But just because it was there on the VCR all the time. And I had scenes memorized. I would draw pictures. Terrible pictures.
Chris Coe also knew what the name of the movie was.
Yeah, Chris, thank you. I'm sorry we didn't look over.
But Batman Begins is, I really enjoyed this movie. I had seen Memento, and I was like, Christopher Nolan worship, after Memento. So glad he got picked to do Batman Begins. Cinematically, incredible storytelling, in my opinion.
I only wish they had listened to him more when he was giving input on Man of Steel.
See, we talk more about Man of Steel in this list than any other movie.
This is a pretty good film.
I really enjoy it. I really enjoy this movie. It was my sort of like, I had never read anything about Batman's origins before, so this was sort of my introduction, and I really understood the character. I love the relationship between Alfred and Bruce. Just a lot of great things about this. The whole Ra's al Ghul twist. It really, it's a really good piece of cinema, and I think it's just 2 clicks shy of the best Batman movie for me, as you'll see.
Well, it's funny. This is one of those movies that it's grown on me over time. What's her name there from Dawson's Creek? Rachel.
Yes,
Rachel?
her. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
But
right.
I know what you're talking about.
The girl who freaking what's his name's sister, Jake Gyllenhaal's
Maggie
sister,
Gyllenhaal.
Maggie Gyllenhaal, is more memorable to me as this character than she is.
Well, but she was also in 2 movies as opposed to 1.
She's not in 2 movies. She's only in The Dark Knight.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, 'cause
so
she dies in the Dark
Yep. Yeah.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the Dark
Which,
Knight.
by the way, does make both our top tens. Yeah. So like,
alert.
this was good. There's just at this point in my life when I saw this film, I had a very full saturation of Batman.
Yeah.
Batman was no longer an estranged character for me.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, as much smack as I talk about Batman, I've read a ton of Batman. So when I say I don't like Batman, it's because I've read plenty for me to say why I don't like the character. But on the same thing, it's also one of the characters I love when he's done correctly.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite Batman is Batman the animated series Batman,
Yeah.
and any story where Batman is a detective, right? Where Batman's actually looking
And he's
for
a
clues.
detective in this movie.
And that's one of the things I like about this movie. That's why this movie has grown on me. He has to play detective in this movie, and he doesn't know everything. And some of my friends were
Katie
like,
Holmes.
Katie Holmes.
Chris, man, he's on this.
"God, you are so good,
Yeah.
man. Thank you."
Yeah, you should be here every week to answer our questions.
So yes, worthy movie.
So that's my number 6, Batman Begins.
Yes.
So now something amazing happened at number 5. We both picked the same movie.
For number 5.
Red,
Yes!
Retired, Extremely Dangerous.
I love this movie.
So great. When I had no idea that this was a comic when I saw this movie, and just the characters in this movie, the way it unfolds, just hysterical, so good. I love seeing, prolific actors, Helen Mirren, John Malkovich, Mary Louise Parker, in this action comedy tour de force, just such an incredibly fun movie.
It is. It's so great. The cast is amazing. The cast is amazing. It's just Morgan Freeman.
Yep.
Oh my God, and Helen Mirren. Oh my God,
Yeah,
the Helen Mirren
so good.
scenes are all amazing.
Helen Mirren
Especially
is
when
amazing.
and
I'm so in love with her.
Helen Mirren as a sniper, people. Yeah. Helen Mirren as a sniper. You need to watch this movie.
Yeah, so that's our number 5. Red, Retired, Extremely Dangerous. Now, what company published this? I know it's a subsidiary of DC, but was this also Vertigo?
I think it was Vertigo.
Okay.
Because I can't think of anything else that DC owns.
There's one other one that I think one of these is on. It's either V for Vendetta or Red. I think is under a different publisher that they owned. All right, so let's move on to number 4.
I'll be looking it up.
Now, Cliff, your number 4 is higher on my list, so we'll skip it for now.
Yes.
All right, here we go. My number 4 is Man of Steel. It is my favorite Superman movie. I love this movie.
Homage is the imprint that published Red.
It is okay. So it was
Holy
a different
cow,
one, yeah. But they're owned by DC as is Vertigo. and everything,
Completely
so, yeah.
escaped. I can't even remember the last time I ever had to think about Homage.
Yeah. So all right, let's do this. Man of Steel, my number 4, my favorite Superman movie. Here's why I love this movie. Number 1,
Drown all the children.
he doesn't know if that's the right answer. He doesn't know. He says, I don't know.
Maybe you should have.
I don't think he says maybe you should have.
My
I think he
Jonathan
just says
Kent
maybe.
would never talk that way. Never. Do you know who's amazing in this movie? Martha. Martha is amazing in this movie. Martha. Go ahead.
I love that he's not Superman yet.
You're right, because he's actually the guy for Dragon Ball Z in this movie. Isn't it great? The movie's a Dragon Ball Z movie. Go ahead, continue, Tony. It's okay. Here, let me help you back, buddy.
Okay.
Let me help you back.
I love that. I don't know about the Jonathan stuff. I don't disagree with you on the Jonathan stuff. Okay, the thing that I got was that I kind of like that that's Jonathan's attitude, because it shows it's a conflict within Clark that he has to decide. He has to decide. I can't look
Not
at
to
you.
be the dumbass that his adoptive father
No,
is.
He has to decide what the right choice is.
And the right choice is don't listen to Jonathan Kent because he's a jerk.
No. The thing is Jonathan wants Clark to make that decision on his own when he's older.
And he should have the day of the tornado.
And he forces him to not have to make that decision too soon. And I feel like that guilt and that conflict within Clark is what pushes him to make the decision to out himself to Zod, to take responsibility, and to do what he needs to do to save the people of Earth and to save the planet. And I feel that if you don't have this major obstacle for Clark to overcome to become Superman, then it's not worth it for him to be Superman. It's just like, oh, it's not interesting. It's like, I'm just a big blue Boy Scout. And that's who we want him to be. And I honestly believe that's who he's going to be by the time we see him in Justice League or Man of Steel 2. But I think we needed it to be rough and not as smooth sailing for him. He needs to be. You're like in Zen mode. You're like just calm down while Tony's saying all these things. I just believe that he needed something to struggle against in order for him.
He had a lot of struggle in this movie.
Becoming Superman to make sense. And even at the end of the movie, when he has to decide
between advertising for LexCorp and advertising for IHOP.
When he has to decide, do I do the worst thing in the world by killing Zod,
or just continue to destroy Metropolis in our fight,
or the worst thing in the world by letting Zod kill these people, or killing Zod? And he makes the right choice, and then his emotion afterwards shows you that was such a painfully hurtful thing. And that, to me, is even more interesting moving forward, that maybe now he makes the choice never to do that again because he knows what it's like and what it feels like and how he feels afterwards. And even in
kind of like how I know Christopher Nolan did not want that ending, and yet I have to live with that ending.
And I love Man of Steel. I think it's a great movie. It's my number 4 of all time on DC list because I think it's that great. And every time I watch it, I appreciate it more and more. And it helps inform me of BVS, where Superman still has more struggles to overcome before he actually has to sacrifice himself through death. And hopefully when we see him resurrected, he'll be closer to that Superman that we know and love. Okay. And I honestly believe that when we look back at this story arc of the DC universe, we're going to see these dark times in the front, and then everything goes into the light, and it becomes the universe and the characters that we love, that we know, we love, and we want them to be. And I think it's way more interesting and way more satisfying if we see that arc through the darkness into the light than if we just started with the light. Now, that all being said, I'm not saying that you could never make a bright Superman movie that's as entertaining and interesting and engaging that way. I'm just saying I like what they did here, and I'm on board for the ride.
And I'm saying I like what they tried to do. The execution is abysmal for me. By not... you can have Jonathan... You could show Jonathan Kent paranoid all you want. I accept it.
Chris says, great job trying to justify that train wreck of a movie.
Thank you! Thank you!
Thank you for saying I did a good job.
Yeah, you did! Look how I kept myself composed, even though the nightmares were there.
Continue with your rebuttal, sir.
What I would have done. Jonathan Kent can be paranoid. Acceptable. Not even for a moment, allow Jonathan Kent to question the life of others. Number 2, following up on the negativity of Jonathan. No, you said it all. No, that's it. It's my turn. The negativity of Jonathan Kent continues by allowing himself to die over the stupid dog that Clark could have saved in moments. And you know what? So what? Clark was like 25 or 30 at that point. You can't tell us that point.
He was not 25 or 30. He was in his late teens.
Oh, he was?
It
Wait,
was
look with
very
that
clear.
body? With
It's
that
very
body?
clear. It's very. He didn't have that body in the
He
scene.
had that body in that
he
scene.
He wore a puffy shirt.
You don't know
It
what
is
was under
very
there.
clear-
This was under there.
It is very clear with the way he talks to Jonathan that he is still a teenager in that scene.
He's a
It is
jerk.
very clear.
They're all jerks.
I would guesstimate he's 16 years old in that scene.
Anyhow, I would have done what the good comic books had done. Clark exposes himself a little, in the super way, not in a nasty way, right? And then actually starts
Because we have to clarify that nowadays.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. And then have Clark travel the world like he did in the comics, and do things in secret while he studies things and observes human behavior.
He did that in this movie.
He did. That's what I'm saying. Do it my way, the good way, and not the crap way that we got. And it's not even my way. Just do it my way, the way good writers did it in comics. They took some of Superman's best moments, but they twisted it into this nastiness. By Jonathan saying things like, maybe you should let the kids die. By Jonathan dying because he was a jerk. And be like, no, son, don't expose yourself. No, Jonathan, you're an idiot.
But
Jonathan,
he's not an idiot. He wanted to protect his son.
I know what he wanted, but that
he
doesn't-
loves his son more than anything in the world.
And just because parents want that doesn't mean it's the right thing to do.
I don't disagree with
Do you
that.
think I would have let
I'm
my
not
mother die?
disagreeing with that.
No, I would not. Let's not even go there. So anyhow, terrible execution. Jonathan should have died by a heart attack because that is something that Superman could not control. And that is one of the magical moments of Superman the movie. Then, to top it off, so now we have two negative things about life and death in this movie, thanks to Jonathan Kent. So when Superman snaps out his neck, I feel what Superman's going through. But we have no basis, right? Because the basis would be two loving parents who, although they are paranoid about Clark being exposed, want to protect him and say, you know what, Clark, life is valuable, life is special, life is important. I wanted that message there so that when Clark has to do that with Zod, we know it's been ingrained in us on his journey. His journey is distorted for me in the way that plays out. And that is why it turns into a disaster. It's one of the two reasons it turns into a disaster. The other is Lois' storyline gets so bad that it only gets worse once we get to BVS. Plus, everything is being sucked into the Phantom Zone, but Lois is falling. And then the minute that Clark grabs her to save her, they're being pulled into the Phantom Zone. I'm like, how is gravity supposed to work in this universe?
So, I will agree with you that you could have had the importance of life and the importance of human life as a touchstone, and that would have made it more interesting at the end. I'll completely agree with you with that.
And the thing is, this happened in the comics, I want you to know. Everything I said all happened in a comic book journey with John Byrne. And John Byrne had Superman kill the Phantom Zoners. It was Superman, Fiora, and oh man, who was the third one? It doesn't matter. The point is, he had to...
In this movie?
No.
Oh,
he had to kill them in the
in the
comic.
comic.
John Byrne's series. He had to kill them. And Superman, couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
He's like, I killed them. Their death haunts me. And he exiled himself from Earth. And that's how he ended up getting kidnapped by Mongol and fighting on Warworld. Yeah. It's way before the days of Planet Hulk, folks. So, I mean, we don't have to make a movie out of that. I'm just saying, the writing for Superman having to go, you guys are going to destroy everything I know and love, and I have no other way to stop you than this canister of kryptonite. And he did it. And it was awful. And most hardcore Superman fans are like, that is the most horrible stain on Superman's legacy ever. And I really don't think so. I think, sometimes the worst part about being a superhero, the best part about somebody like Superman or Wonder Woman is we can take the higher road. We're powerful enough. We can find another alternative. Yep. And one of the most powerful, humanizing things for them to do is, oh my God, I'm always in the position of power to do something better. Yeah. And now I'm thrust into one where I'm not. Yeah. So yes, it could have been so much more. Moments of fighting, some are cool. Public destruction to the point where it's like one of the major negatives of this movie.
I will tell you, at the end of this movie, I had a really hard time with the collateral damage of Metropolis.
Right, because they pan out to show you.
However, the fact that it's a key plot point in Batman v Superman completely, because I said if they don't deal with it, then I'm just going to completely dismiss everything.
Right, and the thing is, And the thing is, I like it as setup and BVS, and then BVS goes off the rails.
But I'm like, it's Doomsday.
Then my new Pa Kent for BVS is actually Bruce Wayne, and I'm like, no.
So anyway, that'll wrap up our discussion of my number 4, Man of Steel. So let's move on to your number 3. Oh, quick, Adam, where do you stand on Man of Steel? No,
He's like, no.
All right, well, I guess we. All right. Moving on to number 3. Your number 3 is
1989's Tim Burton Batman.
you are my number 1 guy.
So why does it get there? I watched this movie a million times as a kid. A million times. And it's funny because I haven't watched it since, and now all of a sudden I really should because there's all sorts of stuff I don't remember. You know,
I've watched it in the last few years, and there's some great moments.
There are some great moments.
So my introduction to Batman was this movie.
Yeah, and this
that's not true. I saw 66 Batman before this.
Right, so my introduction to Batman, like everybody, is Adam West. And then there's this. And let me tell you, so I'm a kid. In 1989, I'm 12? So I'm like, well, we need to go to the movie theater to see this.
Yeah.
And my mom took me and her friend's son.
Yeah.
So it was that kind of trip to the movies. You know, the two of us watching the film and our two moms sitting behind us trying to figure out what the hell is happening. No, they weren't that bad. They weren't that bad. Thank God.
He's all white. Is he a ghost?
No, they knew he was a Joker.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
It was so funny. Like, I was so proud. Like, my mom understood key things. But, like, so we're leaving the movie theater, and my mom was like, I'll always love Cesar Romero as the best Joker ever. Like, my mom was saying this in 1989. She goes, Cesar Romero will forever be my favorite Joker. So, I thought that was great, because my mom's love of Cesar Romero has nothing to do with Batman. It's just the fact that she's always loved Cesar Romero, so like that's it, he wins. Yeah. But you know, like it was intense. For me, this was the film introduction to dark Batman. You know, I mean, it was crazy. But you know what? What a Batmobile! I mean, I thought the Batmobile
my favorite Batmobile of all time.
Yeah,
I built a model of that Batmobile with my father as a kid. I loved that Batmobile so much. Okay. I still love it. I took my HeroClix Batmobile, I ripped it off, I bought a $25 or $30 scale, 1/24 scale model of the Batmobile from this movie, and I glued it to the stand. Because that's how much I love that Batmobile.
So, I'll tell you about how much I love this Batmobile. I bought this Batmobile, the toy, in America, and then we were in Canada, and I'm reading the box, and the box is in, I can't even remember what store we're in. The box is in French and English, and their Batmobile has a plastic dome that replicates the shield from the movie. What? And I make my mother buy me the Batmobile again in Canada just so I could come home with the plastic shield Batman. And this is the first time I discovered, the first thing we discovered in trips to Canada as a child was different candy. But that was the first time I discovered different toys.
That's amazing.
And then as I got older, one of the Spider-Man films came out, and I was in Canada, and there was a Black Cat action figure in Canada that was not released in the United States. And I lost my mind. And there I am in Toys R Us in Canada, like grabbing Black Cat off the wall, like, oh, she's coming home with me. But no, the movie's great. Amazing, just amazing acting. Jack Nicholson goes for this crazed gangster Joker, and I think it works for what the film is. Yeah. And Michael Keaton, who I deemed a comedian, right? Was like really good.
I remember my dad was like, "Oh, that's a funny
He's
guy.
Like Mr. Mom.
This isn't going to be that great."
Yeah,
and
like
then we went and we were like, like,
yeah, no. For me, it's like, how is the guy from Mr. Mom and Multiplicity supposed to be Batman?
Yeah, no, my dad was then like, "All right, let's go buy the model."
Yeah.
So, all right, well, that's Batman, 1989's Batman, directed by Tim Burton, as your number 3.
Yep.
My number 3 is higher on your list, which is next.
It's
so
my
let's
number
get
2.
To your number 2, which is
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
So great.
Highest grossing superhero origin movie of all time.
Yes. Unbelievable. Oh, yeah, that's right. She did beat Deadpool. Yep. Dude, you know what I love? I love that this is her picking up the tank from the movie poster. But let's be honest, her picking up the tank in the movie is just is a wow moment. And then, of course, prior to that, because the beginning of that scene,
I think the wow moment is when she chooses.
to cross no man's land.
Well, that too. But,
That's like-
But when she's holding the tank and she decides to put it down, and
Yes.
she chooses a different path than
Right.
normal superhero. Like
Right, she could have
normal,
just like,
like,
oh, let me
actions,
like knock down the
yeah.
rest of this town.
It's like, no,
Tank.
I'm gonna. You know what? This is exactly what you want, Ares, and I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah. Wait, that's the second time she picks up a tank, I believe. Because that's when she's like enraged at the end, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, you're talking
Yeah.
about the first time when she
Right,
throws it
because
through the
it's
building.
right because
Yeah.
well, no, she throws it out of the building.
Yeah.
No,
'Cause there's the
she
sniper.
powers into the building herself.
Oh,
remember?
right.
Because Steve puts everybody together
Yeah.
to redo
Oh,
the
the sh-
move,
the-
shield throw move
yeah.
that he saw the Amazons
That
do.
he saw. Well, they saw it. They saw it in the Avengers with Captain America and
Yeah, well, those guys.
That's a joke.
Yeah, okay.
The Themyscirans don't have TV.
Yeah, of course. I was looking at you
Anyway.
like this is weird. No, but like
No,
no,
it's the same move from the
Well, no.
Avengers. With Black Widow, he pushes Black Widow up.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't feel it's the same.
It's the same move.
Well, it's sad that it's the same, but I feel like this is so much better
I'm not gonna disagree.
because it really
It
is.
is. It's so much better.
But yeah, I
That's
mean,
what you do. You take what somebody else did and you make it better.
so you want to know what's crazy?
What's crazy? Tell me what's crazy.
My love affair with this movie parallels my love affair of Superman the movie. And considering Patty Jenkins said that Superman the movie was her personal theatrical inspiration for this film. And when I watch this now, one of the things I would like to talk about when I get to Superman the movie is
Spoilers.
we're at the end of the list, people. But it's like 3 movies in one, right?
Yeah.
And like and Richard Donner really went out of his way to make sure that each part of the film felt really unique.
Yeah.
And they transitioned into each other. And she recreated that here. You know, like the opening sequence on Themyscira is just amazing and bright.
That's really true.
And and then we get to England and it's just like kind of dark, but Diana's kind of her own light.
Yeah.
And then we get to No Man's Land and meeting up with Ares, and then things get grimy.
Yeah.
And she did it. I mean, she nailed it. And like, oh my god, see, I'm getting the chills. I'm
It
getting the
really.
chills.
I got chills. I got chills every time I thought or saw it when they're like, oh, no man can cross that, and then she just climbs right up and she just goes over, and it's like, wow,
I love it,
woman
and I
can-
love that she rallies everyone behind her, and I love that they save the town. And my heart is broken when that town is murdered by Ludendorff.
What I love, and they did this in Avengers as well, is there's a scene where they're saving people from a city bus, and they're saving people in a bank, and like that's what we want to see superheroes do, is save people, and like that's the kind of thing that fills us with pride and hope and like and cheer. And
I'm
like,
hoping that's what Justice League is going to give us. A little bit. Well, a little
I'm trying
bit.
to keep my expectations low.
Well, the reason my
'Cause I really wanna-
the reason my expectation is high on saving people
Yeah.
is because of the conversation from the trailer with Batman and Flash, and Batman says, "Flash, just save one person."
See, I have actually not watched.
That's from one of the old trailers.
Really?
Yeah.
I've only seen 2 trailers and I haven't seen any clips.
Okay, good for you.
So-
I haven't. So the other day, a week or 2 ago, there was a giant clip from the movie featuring Steppenwolf, and I watched it, and I was like, "This is it. I can't anymore." I was like, "No more watching clips." I was like, "That was too much. That gave away too much of the movie. I can't handle anymore." Like the only thing that would have made it worse is me watching a clip of Superman because they've been so good at hiding him.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right, so that's my number 3. Your number 2.
Yep.
Wonder Woman, great movie.
It is.
Let's move on to my number 2, The Dark Knight,
Which is my number 4.
which is your number 4.
Dark as all get out.
So Heath Ledger's amazing in this movie.
Yes.
A very unique all of the Jokers that we've had in theatrical versions have been unique and different,
Yep.
and each
Dark.
one has hit on different notes in different ways, and this one is great. This chaos.
He's the anarchist. He's
He
the
is.
dark
He
anarchist
is.
Joker.
And you know the fact that it's a shame that we didn't get to see more of the 2 of Batman and this Joker.
And
face off against each
yet,
other.
by only having this movie, it like
And
solidifies it.
the thing that I love about this movie is what happens to Harvey at the end, And the fact that Batman, this is why Batman exists, is he takes on the brunt because he understands that he can be a symbol of despair and fear. But what Gotham really needs
is a symbol of hope.
Is a white knight.
Yep.
Is somebody that's hopeful, somebody that represents the light that they can all struggle to. And he understands that in order for that to happen, he needs to be branded as the villain. And that is just like I understood Batman at the end of this movie. I understood everything. And this would have been a perfect place to end this trilogy.
And I just want you to know. Well, you know what's funny? You know what movie grows on me? Dark Knight Rises.
Really?
There's a couple.
I can't stand that movie.
I couldn't stand it either. And the things I hate about it, like Man of Steel, I will hate about it forever. But some of the things that it nails beautifully in the sense of a trilogy, the moments that Batman has with Gordon and how they flash back to the first film are very touching and beautifully orchestrated. It's like it's basically everything that doesn't involve Bane is great in that movie. And as soon as you add Bane
I actually can't stand Catwoman in that movie.
I can take her or leave her.
I can't. She almost completely ruins the movie for me.
Really?
Yeah, I have a really hard time with her.
Bane is the one for me that is just like and then the bomb, and then how
Bane
long is Batman in the desert? And like, there's no concept of time.
That's true, and there's all of that is correct. But for every time Anne Hathaway is on screen as Catwoman, I lose it. I can't handle it. I'm just like, she completely takes me out of the movie. I don't believe her as a character, as the character. I just like.
Talia works.
Oh, Talia's amazing. I like Bane. I like that whole relationship.
I can't get over Bane. I just hate him so much. And I just feel like everything doesn't work there. But I like how Talia's used.
But the Dark Knight, on the other hand, is just tremendous.
So I was gonna say, you're like at the end, you said you get to the end of the movie, you're like, I get Batman, but I felt that movie took the time to give us the whole journey of the Bruce we meet at the beginning of the film to the Batman. It's like, well, I'm the Dark Knight, I have to be on the run, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that a lot.
This Dark Knight.
Yeah. Like but I mean the journey of that character, like
in this movie.
Yes, because
not over the trilogy, just this movie.
Maybe over the trilogy, I like his personal journey. His personal journey, I'm not disgusted. You know, I'm disgusted by story elements. I think I like his personal journey throughout all three films, because there are certain things again that Dark Knight Rises nails beautifully, and other things not so much. But for this movie, his journey just in this movie alone is beautifully executed through storytelling, through visuals,
and
through scenes, everything.
I love that the Joker thinks he's got everybody by putting them on the ferries,
and they all decide to actually be good people.
And like it's like as though he was a year too late.
Yeah.
Like if he had done that a year or two earlier, maybe before Batman showed up in the scene, maybe it would have gone off the way he thought. But I think that there has been enough positivity and that Gotham has shifted, struggling more towards the light, that they don't immediately go to that and
the fact that Bruce Wayne has been using Wayne Industries to kind of help the city.
Yeah.
You know, he's got his mansion in repair. He rebuilding his building, rebuilding his parents' monorail. Mm-hmm. You know, all big things that I think are very good for that universe.
And I'll be honest with you, Christopher Nolan took a huge dive after this. I did not like Inception. I haven't liked anything after this movie. Did Inception come out before this or after this? Adam, do you remember?
No, after this, but before Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the last great Christopher Nolan movie.
I had a good time.
I haven't liked anything.
I had a good time with Inception.
I hate that movie.
And really?
That movie to me has the same problem as The Phantom Menace. There's no protagonist in that movie. There's no character that you take the journey with, that you can go along with, that has an arc from start to finish. And because it's not Leonardo DiCaprio's character, because he's the same from the beginning to the end. Ellen Page's character, you could argue, but she doesn't show up until 45 minutes of the movie.
I'd still argue for her, because technically she really is the other star. You know,
she is, but and she's the one she's a normal person that gets wrapped up in this extraordinary journey, but you don't meet her until you're 45 minutes into the movie, and she's not who the movie is about. It's true. The same thing in The Phantom Menace. You don't the movie is technically about Anakin Skywalker, but you don't meet him until he's 45 minutes in, and he has no bearing. His choices have no bearing on the story whatsoever. It's the same thing in the
Indiana Jones.
What?
Yeah, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. You haven't heard about this?
No.
His choices, his decisions, everything has no bearing on anything. The Nazis still end up with the Ark. They still open the Ark. They still all die because of the Ark.
No, but he's trying to
Right,
like
and he doesn't
to stop that.
Right, but he doesn't succeed. He only helps them along because he's figuring stuff out for them. And then to top it all off, he doesn't even get to bring the artifact home. The
Right.
artifact, right, which his job at the beginning of the movie was to bring the artifact home
Right.
for where he works,
Sure.
and he doesn't even get to keep it.
Sure.
So yeah, you haven't heard this. You have not heard this where he fails on every level. There's like a whole thing.
No,
Oh,
I
yeah.
agree with you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I'm not watching
It's
him
a more
to see him
interesting-
succeed.
No, I know, but it's
Indiana Jones is at his best. It's like the scene when he's fighting the guy at the airplane, and it's like he solves one problem, but he creates two more.
okay.
Like you love seeing Indy when he's on his
Well,
back
okay.
foot.
I kind of feel that way about Inception. They solve one problem and create a few more and that leaves you wondering at the end. It's not great, Tony. I'm not going to put it in my top 100 movies of all time, but I mean, it's watchable. Like I can watch it, you know.
Yeah, I can watch Man of Steel too.
Yeah. So can I.
All right.
I've proven that.
Let's get to the number ones. So Cliff, your number one, first off, is
Superman the movie.
Superman the movie.
All right. So
The late great Christopher Reeve.
yes,
My Superman from growing up as a kid.
my Superman from growing up as well. Sorry that our friend Joe didn't have a great experience with Christopher Reeve in person. You didn't hear that
I didn't
story?
hear that. Our producer Joe?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. You didn't hear that story?
I did not. Tell me off camera. Let's talk about it later. So
Yes, let's keep his memory pure and clean. So what I love about it, so like the first time I ever saw Superman the movie was the 2 nights it aired on CBS when I was a kid. And that like burned into my mind because I was maybe 1.5 or 2 years old when it was on television. And the first most horrifying, traumatizing, scary thing I ever saw as a child, right, was Lois being buried by that earthquake. And I was like freaking out. And I was so young. I was like, is she dead in real life? Like I was like messed up. Like not so messed up, but I was messed up for like a week. Thankfully, it wasn't like forever. It wasn't like forever. But I remember like I was like, oh my goodness. And then we rented a Laserdisc player for the first time ever. So this was like at the time there was Laserdisc, VHS, and Betamax. And so, of course, we rented Laserdisc because everyone was like, oh, no, that's the best picture. True enough. It really was the best picture.
I own The Empire Strikes Back on Laserdisc.
Yeah. And, by the way, so this is early 80s, and it could produce 420p quality, right? So I don't even think...
420?
Yeah, 420p.
Isn't that what regular TV was back then?
Yeah, but, like, it was like... No, because there was no no one knew what progressive scan was.
Oh.
Yeah, like, it was...
No, progressive scan... Well, right.
Right, I mean, right, like, it produced 420 progressive scan quality.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my god! Anyhow. I mean, I know all this now as an adult. I didn't know as a kid, but it was sharp as all get out. And Superman the movie was on 2 discs, so it was still like watching things. And also, we had Superman 2 on Laserdisc, so I was just so excited. So how that even happened was we had HBO at the time because growing up in the 80s, you had HBO or you didn't, or you got it sometimes where you got the deal and then you just cut it right back off.
I didn't have cable at all because I lived at the end of a nowhere road. I didn't live at the end of nowhere road. I lived on a nowhere road, and I never had cable growing up. Ever.
Did you have the antenna?
We had 4 channels.
Oh yeah.
We had ABC, NBC, CBS, and PBS. Those are the 4 channels I had growing up. And I used to go to school and have to hear my friends talk about The Simpsons and cry because I couldn't watch it. Because I didn't have Fox unless you had cable. Yep.
I mean, even now, faxes you can get on the end. But wow. Anyhow, it was rough. So
No, Adam thinks that's just...
he's in disbelief over there.
He's like, I don't know how you could survive like that.
So anyhow, I mean, so I love this movie, and then one night my parents were like, oh, Superman's on, and I come running down the stairs, and I'm watching Superman with them, and Superman's like landing in a jungle, grabbing like a flower to bring back to Lois with groceries. I watched Superman 2 for the first time in my life, starting from that scene forward. And then I'm like, who are these people? Oh, they're villains. Oh, they have Superman's powers. Oh, there's heat vision. I was like so excited. So my parents rented the Laserdisc player, rented the Laserdisc, rented good movies, and rented the Superman movies I want to watch.
Brian, it's a fact. Look it up. He said calling it Phantom Menace is a bit of a reach.
Yeah, that is
I didn't
cool.
say it was like Phantom Menace. I said it suffers the same problem as the Phantom Menace. It's clearly better executed than the Phantom Menace, but it still suffers the same problem.
There's much better acting than the Phantom Menace.
Yeah. Oh, Joe's here.
Yay, Joe! He finally joined us. I almost told you Christopher Reeve's story, Joe, but not on camera.
He's gonna tell me off camera because I didn't hear about this.
So, see the bonding moments that happen at Comic-Con. So yeah, the fact that it's like 3 movies, the love and care for the characters, the fact that even the most unbelievable things are sold, the fact that Margot Kidder is there to sell them to us. You know, she's the one always throwing in Superman's face. Like, who are you? How are you flying? You've got me, who's got you? Love that. It's like, what do you stand
Doesn't
for?
she say at one point, like, what's your political leanings or something?
Right, and he
in the
goes,
interview?
I'm here to stand for truth, justice, and the American way. She goes, you're going to be throwing every politician out of Washington. Miss Lane, surely you don't believe that. She's like, so good. You know, it was like, it's great. And,
He's just telling me, he's spoiling the conversation we're about to have later.
yeah, woof. So anyhow, I mean, I love that. Lex is orchestrated parallel to Superman. Amazing. Clark has this demure life, you know, and he's pining over Lois. Lex has got a beautiful woman and a fabulous underground estate. You know, with a badass library. Like, if you really look at like how they're juxtaposed in the movie, it's brilliant. Like, these are things that never occurred to me as a kid, and now I'm older and I watch. I'm like, wow. I'm like,
I should rewatch this too because I haven't seen this in about 10 years.
yeah, it's like, I'm like, this is filmmaking. Of course, now I watch the director's cut all the time. You know, because like Lex, even though he knows about Superman, he still tests him. You know, uses little gadgets to fire bullets at him and freeze him. So here's another fun fact, right? The scene where he's like setting Superman on fire, freezing him, and all that. They use some of those sequences in Superman 2 when he's in the Crystal Chamber transforming. In the Richard Lester version.
Yeah.
Which I only put together when I was older. I was able to watch everything together. So yeah, I love it. This movie's my heart, and this movie is the one. This movie is the one that broke the doors open, in my opinion. So this was. So all these movies are door breakers. Like, Batman's on the list because it's a door breaker. Wonder Woman's on this list because it's a door breaker. Superman's on this list because it's a door breaker. And my emotional attachment.
The DC Trinity.
It really is. And my emotional attachment to these characters. All of them break a door. This one broke the door so we can actually start making superhero films.
And I'll be honest with you too. Like this, when I was a kid, I had seen both movies over and over again. Superman 1, Superman 2. I honestly could not separate them in my head.
They're one
until
big
about 10
fabulous
years ago.
movie. If you know,
and the thing is that because I always used to confuse this scene was in this movie and this scene was in that movie, and the only reason why this one's not on my list in Superman 2 is simply because I love the idea of him going up against Zod. You know, the trio with the similar powers, and that it's a callback. And in the Richard Donner cut, there's a callback to his father being responsible for them going to the Phantom Zone, like that. The whole thing, and I just really love like. And I don't know if it's in the Richard Donner version only, but there's this scene where at the beginning of the movie where Lois is trying to figure out that if Clark is
Richard
Superman,
Donner version only,
and she throws herself out the window. And it's just, I remember I was watching it, this was a few months ago, and I was looking at my wife, I'm like, I don't ever remember seeing this scene. Like, must be a new scene.
It's
and
the
I was
Richard
like,
Donner,
this is great.
Yes.
Like, this is so good. Like, she would totally do that. And then the whole thing where how he works it out.
yeah, lots of super breath and lots of heat vision to make sure she lands. Lands safely in a fruit cart.
I know, and she's like so embarrassed.
It's so great.
She's like,
it's so great.
It's so good.
A drop that would have killed anybody else.
Oh yeah. So both of them are fantastic movies. I certainly can understand why it's your number one. So my number one, similar. You know what's interesting is sequels. I like the sequels.
Yes.
So my number one is Batman Returns. This is probably my all-time favorite DC movie.
And clearly your favorite Catwoman.
My favorite Catwoman. I love, and you know what's interesting is I love Gotham because the girl on Gotham that plays
Reminds you of
Selena
this.
looks like a really young Michelle Pfeiffer, and I I like everything about this movie is great. Yes, Brian. Like, Batman Returns is great. It's my number one DC movie. It's my favorite DC movie of all time. I love all the characters. I love this. This is one of those movies that has what you would think would be too many villains. Like if you wrote it down on paper, how many villains are in this movie, you'd be like, that's too many. That's one too many. But it works, and the fact that Selina's kind of a villain, and then kind of not, and
but she's an anti-hero. But
she
let's also keep in mind Christopher Walken. Danny DeVito. I mean, everybody.
Like Michelle Pfeiffer. I just, there's so many great things about this movie.
My favorite scene is Michelle Pfeiffer. It's everything Michelle Pfeiffer and Christopher Walken, and those are my favorite scenes. They have the best, they have the best combative chemistry ever.
My favorite scene in this movie is when Bruce and Selina are dancing and when they realize who each other is.
Yes, over mistletoe.
And they flip the lines that they said earlier in the movie as Batman and Catwoman, and I was like, oh, what's gonna happen now?
And then he's clutching her, I'm not letting you go.
And he's like, and they're like discussing what to do about it, And I just I love her. I love most of her origin in this movie. I sort of it feels a little mystical-y to me.
Well, had they followed up, by the way, on her story, because we know Catwoman lives at the end, right? There would have been more about that, and she was kind of down to do a Catwoman movie, but that era wasn't like the era today. Today, the fact that everyone at Marvel is scrambling, should we do Lady Liberators? I think we should do Lady Liberators. The girls want to do Lady Liberators. That's what we live in today. We're actually going to go into meltdown over all this stuff. I'm very scared. I have friends now who already are experiencing superhero fatigue. Yeah. I've mentioned this before. So I think it's the beginning of superhero fatigue for a lot of people, and I feel bad because a very famous director, I can't remember who, predicted this at the time of Age of Ultron.
I know who it was.
Yes, and he said,
I feel like it was David Lynch.
No, it wasn't David Lynch.
Sure?
Yeah, that would have come easy. And someone who doesn't come easy, but who is famous. And he said, movies are going to be the films that people are making with their cameras at home. That's going to be the next thing in films, because this is going to be like the Western. We're going to get oversaturated, and then they're going to fade off.
I think that that's only true if they don't do subgenres within the films, which they are doing. Thor Ragnarok is an action comedy.
Yep.
The Winter Soldier was a political thriller.
Yep.
Infinity War is supposed to be a heist movie. Ant-Man was a heist movie.
Ant-Man was a successful heist movie. I love me some Ant-Man. We'll see when we get to our Marvel top 10s.
Well, that one's not going to be on my list because that's my least favorite.
Dude.
That's even worse than The Incredible Hulk, in my opinion. But anyway,
absolutely not.
We'll get to that.
That movie's so much funnier. What is wrong with
That's another list for another day, my
Comedy
friends.
has points.
So anyway, very quickly, we'll recap our top 10. Mine is Swamp Thing at number 10, Constantine at number 9, Superman 2 at number 8, Road to Perdition at number 7, Batman Begins at number 6, Red, Retired Extremely Dangerous at number 5, Man of Steel at number 4, Wonder Woman at number 3, The Dark Knight at number 2, and Batman Returns at number 1. And your top 10, sir?
Green Lantern at number 10, Suicide Squad at number 9, The Losers at number 8, Watchmen at number 7, V for Vendetta at number 6, Red at number 5, hey, The Dark Knight at number 4, Batman from 1989 at number 3, Wonder Woman at number 2, and Superman the movie at number 1.
Brian, I personally think that Ant-Man is worse than Hulk. I have issues, but you'll have to tune in to our top 10 Marvel.
I can't even believe I'm hearing this.
Marvel movies to find out more about that, which we will probably
I love
do
so much about that movie.
Which we will probably do right before Avengers: Infinity War comes out. we'll do our top 10 Marvel movies. That way we can include Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther. And possibly Star Wars. Would Star Wars count as Marvel movies?
No. And you wanted to, I refuse to. But you want to know what's so funny? Last time when I was picking up my comics, I swear to you, it was like a half hour of me and 2 other guys in the comic book store just talking about how theaters are going to be lit when Black Panther comes out. It's going to be lit. It's going to be like so crazy. It's gonna be like, we're just like, Black Panther's going to be everything.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. We really appreciate you tuning in. We do this show every Wednesday at 6 p.m. live, both on Facebook and on Twitch. So tune in and interact with us then. Ask us questions, whatever. So we're going to wrap up today's show, but next week we're going to open... We'll do that next week.
let's just do
no, next
You
week.
know you
Next
want
week.
to.
Next
Just in
week.
your heart.
Next
You
week.
want to.
Next week we'll
Come
open
on.
up a brick of Harley Quinn and the Gotham Girls. We'll tease it
Like
here.
this one.
Yeah.
Like this one.
We were gonna try to do it today, but it's a little late. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Anything else we wanna build before we say goodnight?
You know darn well I just want to
I know, but we're gonna wait till next week.
Oh my God! We didn't even talk enough. So much has happened between last week and this week. I went to the WizKids Open in New Jersey.
Oh, you did? That's
yes,
right.
and oh my God! So I lost my keys in my friend Johnny's car.
Holy
So
cow.
he had to bring them back to me the next day on his way to go see Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
I left my Easy Pass in his car. I have to get it back from him at the next WizKids
Holy
Open
cow.
this Wednesday. There's a WizKids Open in Albany on Saturday when we're having ours in Poughkeepsie. Then we have this WizKids Open
Ours
here
is
on
on
Sunday.
Sunday, yep.
My head is spinning. At least it's going to be Gotham Girls for
I
Sealed.
wish I could go to the one. I wish I could go to the one at Dragon's Den, but I have to run the Dice Masters one here on Saturday.
Of course. But anyhow, we're doing Sealed for both, right?
No,
You're doing Constructed.
we're doing Constructed.
Anyhow, let me just tell you, I love Sealed. Constructed is madness, and it's chasing me out of this game. My team was just obliterated. I was told repeatedly, well, when someone uses a proper Unimind team, but do you know how many times I heard that and how insulting that was? I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I threw this together this morning just to have a go at things,
He's making a bad
Yeah, but
Christopher
why is
joke.
he
I told him to message me.
Oh, I got you, because there you go. Anyhow, that was cool. Love to see my friends there. Super stoked for Justice League tomorrow night. And I think now I finally covered everything. Okay, good.
Awesome. So we'll crack the Harley Quinns and the Gotham Girls brick next week. We might do some tournament reports from this weekend, and we'll go over some more. So we'll do heavy HeroClix stuff next week. So thank you again for watching. As always, I'm Tony Cox,
And I'm Clifford Parmenter.
and we'll see you next time.
Take care.
Good night.